All right, y'all. We got to get the disclaimer in, and welcome to TATN, the Self Love Show. The views expressed on today's pod are those of the hosts, any guests, and are not necessarily reflective of TATN, ESPN, or any affiliates therein. Win again and again with TATN. All right, y'all. Karen, can we drop that record, please? Big ups to Karen, y'all.
The Self Love Show, giving you more than vitamins and minerals. Food for your soul, information and plans integral to making your mind grow. With more growth and development, BS is irrelevant to the intelligent. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is what we represent. It's the Self Love Show, the Self Love Show, the Self Love Show. We do it for our people. The Self Love Show, it's the Self Love Show, it's the Self Love Show. To expose they don't equal. The Self Love Show, the Self Love Show, the Self Love Show. We wordsmith 9 mil. The Self Love Show, the Self Love Show. You know how the story go. It's the Self Love Show.
Y'all heard the man. What's a law to a God? Welcome to another enriching episode of the Self Love Show, right here on This Ain't That Network. And as we say, TATN.
It's the Self Love Show, the Self Love Show, the Self Love Show.
Eh?
We do it for our people.
Eh?
The Self Love Show, it's the Self Love
All right.
Show, it's the Self Love Show.
This is one of the co-hosts, 9 Millie.
Equal to Self Love Show, the Self Love
Karen,
Show,
can you
the
reduce
Self Love
volume?
Show. We wordsmith 9 mil. The Self Love Show, the Self Love Show. You
This is
know
one of the
how
co-hosts, 9 Millie. All praise to the ancestors, the Most High, and my late, truly beloved Mama Sky. Today, we're tackling two seismic shifts that are shaking the foundations of life across the Americas. First, we turn our attention to Mexico City, where immigration riots have erupted, or protests. But these aren't protests. They're cries of frustration from communities overwhelmed by a surge of displaced people, economic strain, and a growing sense that no one is listening. The streets are speaking, and what they're saying is urgent. Meanwhile, north of that border, right here, a different kind of storm is brewing. The so-called Big Beautiful Law, a sweeping piece of legislation recently signed into effect, is being held by some as a master stroke of reform. But for everyday people, it's not just a headline. It's a new reality, a new paradigm. From changes in healthcare access to shifts in labor protections and immigration enforcement, the law is reshaping daily life in ways that are both subtle and seismic. These two stories, though unfolding in different places, are deeply connected. The pressure placed on Mexico to absorb and contain migration flows is no accident. It's a ripple effect of policies crafted far from the border, but felt most intensely by those living closest to it, in the inner cities, for instance. And as the United States tightens its grip, the weight is shifting southward, igniting tensions that have been simmering for years. In this episode, we'll explore both fronts, the unrest in Mexico City and the domestic fallout of the Big Beautiful Law. We'll ask what these developments mean for the future of migration, for the working class, and for the fragile balance between sovereignty and solidarity. Because when policy becomes personal, the real story starts. So, whip out your self-love vision and your 10 hats. This is the Self Love Show, and this is the revolution. And the revolution will not be on YouTube, however. These are lessons. These are not lectures. We're live in living color, Tuesday, July 8th at approximately 7:16 in the Shy. And as always, you cats can be anywhere in this magnanimous universe, but thankfully, we all chose to be here together. Here together. Bear down, what down, brother Word Smith? What you manifesting today?
Love, man. You know me. I'm manifesting love. What you manifesting?
Ditto, good brother. Pure, magnificent. Some say harsh. Many said tough. But I can assure you it's self-love just the same.
No doubt, no doubt.
Hey, what's been going on in your you're part of America out there in the rack up.
Man, I had a wonderful week, bro. Uh, my daughter came to town. My son was already in town. I got to spend some time with them both together. Uh, Amazing experience, with their mother. It was awesome, awesome time. My son was finishing up a lawyer camp, and my daughter is now in college immersion experience at the University of Texas A&M.
Nice, bro. They wasn't affected by that flood, were they?
Uh, Heard nothing about no flood, no mention or anything. I be off the grid. I don't pay attention to a lot of that stuff, so I didn't even know about it. And seeing how they didn't mention it or say anything, they weren't affected by it.
Yeah. You mean you didn't know about it to this moment?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's over 100 people dead, man, at camp, full of kids. Uh, Man, it's awful, bro.
yeah, that is terrible.
Yeah, and they're still, got missing people. So prayers up to all those affected.
Most definitely.
It's a blessing that your family is good, though, bro.
Oh, beyond measure.
Facts, facts. All right, what to expect today on the Self Love Show? We always kick it off with the quote of the day, and then we flip to our more growth and development. That's more MOOR growth and development video. It's our platform, and then of course we got Tattoo Tyranny out there. Tattoo Tyranny and a Dome teaser, two short videos. Brother Wordsmith and I are going to react to, and then we'll hop to topic, which is how the big quote, beautiful, end quote, law affects everyday people. I am everyday people. All right. Uh, and then we're going to briefly tap in on the immigration, quote, riots, end quote, in Mexico City. We'll let you know what they're saying that's about. So if you guys could please, and ladies, smash that like button. Um, Repost this link. We're going to I guess we're calling this the big beautiful law for dummies, so to speak. No offense intended. We're going to summarize some of the points. It's like a 900-page bill, so a lot of minutia, a lot of stuff buried in the weeds, I must say. And then we close it out with my personal favorite part of the whole shebang, and that's where Brother Wordsmith, he's going to summarize today's entire pod off the rip, meaning off the top of the dome, with a bit of world-class prose out there, pulling it from the ether, filtering it through him, and then shooting it out back into the ether so you guys can filter it through you. It's always a work of genius. Do stand by. But you got any announcements there, fella?
Like, share, subscribe, far and wide. Let's get this information to the people that need it.
Yeah, man, and condolences to the people at that record release party too, right there
Oh
in
my
your
God.
backyard, there,
Yeah,
fella.
that was crazy.
Yeah, I don't even think they caught the perpetrators. They haven't even named the person of interest
No,
out there.
no, they ain't caught nobody. That's unfortunately a recurring event here in Chicago, that murders go unsolved.
Unless you go slide and there was a bunch of cops coming out of a bar and you lit that up. I'm pretty sure that would have gotten solved.
Well, they tend to figure out who's murdered cops, or they tend to solve those right away.
Yeah, whether it's the right person or not.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Y'all like, share, subscribe, like this brother just said. Um, any lawmakers out there, all right? Anybody who's read this law, got any opinions, let us know. Chime in. You know, the algorithm loves it. More importantly, we appreciate it because, it keeps everything flowing. Big ups to all our sponsors. Midwest Festivals presents Ancestral Echoes. It's my understanding it went up, 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 up a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yes. Outstanding.
That's great, man. It's growing, bro. And then we
Yes.
got Tay Mills Aesthetics. If you find yourself in, and that's a Ancestral Echoes. For those who don't know, it's a glamping house music fest. It's an annual event. Come out, set up your camper, your tents, and listen to music all weekend. Damn good music. Okay. And then Tay Mills Aesthetics, if you find yourself in sunny Southern California and you're looking for a multicultural skin, body, and or weight loss pro, reach out, www.taymills, that's with a Z and one L, taymillsaesthetics.com, licensed, bonded, all right, fully insured, fully incorporated. And then we got Bella B Designs. Should you happen to need some swag, t-shirts, anything like that, personalization on clothing, reach out to designs365@gmail.com. Last but not least, Gym Recovery. All right, you need yourself a toe. You're running around Chicagoland, reach out to Gym Recovery. Tell them the Self Love Show sent you. All those companies are bronze owned, copper operated. All right. So you'll be recycling your money. Enough of my yapping. Let me turn it over to this brother so he can handle his business. And big ups
Yes,
to
yes, y'all.
all the viewers.
It don't stop. The Self Love Show rocks on. As Nine has so eloquently stated, the Self Love Show. Today we're unpacking how the big, beautiful law affects everyday people. So we're going to dig deep into this, y'all. It's a wonderful thing. As always, we have a video, very important video, the Silverback More Growth and Development Platform, which the Self Love Nation is built off of. As always, before that, we have the Self Love Show quote of the day. And I lose it. What the hell? I had it marked out. I don't know how it go. It's the Self Love Show. This is incredibly stupid. And I'm talking about me not losing it. Okay. Our country is going to be a rocket ship economically. Once again, our country is going to be a rocket ship economically. Donald J. Trump. Karen, can you play the video, please?
Yeah, Karen. Karen, get off the phone with 12 and you know what I mean? Big ups to Karen. She's always
Big ups,
talking to
Karen.
12. All right, let's see here. Yeah, Karen, the more growth. There you go, Karen.
Silverback More Growth and Development Platform. Number one, repair our nation via reparations. We demand our silver back. Number two, to connect our breadwinners with our activists. And three, show an accurate depiction of African American Chi-Town. 4, to shine a light on positive influence. 5, heal our community one person at a time. 6, to provide an unfiltered platform for our influencers. 7, recycle the black dollar. 8, to provide mentors for the mentorless. 9, to close the gap between us and our pink kinsmen. We're closing the gap. We're closing the gap.
And number 10, protect our women, children, and ourselves by any and all means necessary. All right. If y'all didn't catch last week's show, the Ice Age, that's I period, C period, E period, immigration's custom and enforcement age. We covered that, birthright citizenship, and ally warmongering. What say ye, Brother Wordsmith?
What was that? You broke up. I couldn't understand you.
We covered the Ice Age, birthright
Oh,
citizenship, and
yes,
ally
that was
warmongering.
amazing show. I suggest you go check it out. Check it out.
All right, y'all. We got a poll up on the channel. Interesting results so far, which is part of the reason why we're covering this content today, because most people have selected number 3. So the poll is, what's your take on the big, beautiful law? Your first option is unfavorable. Your second option is favorable. Your third option, which most people have selected, is unsure. I haven't read it. Ignorant. I'm ignorant. And then
Legitimate answer.
yeah. Your fourth option is both, meaning there's good and bad contained within the bill. All right. We're gonna have Karen drop that particular post into this chat. So anyone who hasn't voted, please take the time to click on it really quickly and let us know what your take is. And you can feel free to wait to the end of the show if you're going to select number 3, which is you haven't read it. You've been working hard and with your families, and we understand. That's the whole plan. Backdoor these laws and bills down your throat while nobody's paying attention. And Brother Wordsmith and I will let you know what we selected at the end of the show. All right. Eventually, we'll get to topic, which is how the beautiful law affects everyday people, immigration riots in Mexico City, which I found pretty ironic. Brother Wordsmith, did you? Well, yeah, this is on topic. I don't know if you saw it. U.S. citizens being deported.
I'm unplugged most of the time.
Yeah.
So not sure if I heard it, because especially with your creative characterizations and naming.
All right. This is big ups to Al Jazeera. Fair use. I don't know how America feels about Al Jazeera, but they add some balance to my particular life.
These protesters in Mexico City say cross-border migration is changing their country's capital for the worse. Over the last decade, an influx of mostly American so-called digital nomads have moved here to work remotely and also enjoy a cheaper cost of living. Protesters say the newcomers have driven up rents beyond the reach of locals.
If they're going to live in a country, they have to contribute to that country. The first and simplest issue is legal migration. They come here with visas or no visas, and still the change in purchasing power generates these problems of gentrification and displacement.
I'm here because gentrification is just one more step towards colonization, dispossession, and the exploitation of our resources. Right now it's about the people, but it won't be long before they run out of oil, water, or lithium in other countries and come and take them from us.
Many Americans in Mexico are able to still receive high salaries in dollars from U.S. companies by working on laptops from their apartments.
The government is directing its public policies towards people with higher purchasing power, often illegally displacing local populations who have lived in these neighborhoods for 40, 50, and we have even documented cases of up to 60 years. In 5 years, rents have increased by 47%. This is violent for the local population. We are debating whether to pay for electricity, water, or food. Of course, we choose to eat.
Some activists blame Mexico's government for encouraging them. However, there's no simple fix. Imposing tougher visa restrictions on Americans could worsen relations with the U.S. Mexican citizens in the U.S. also send billions of dollars in remittances back to their families in Mexico. In a world where travel and communication are faster and easier than ever, these two nations are finding it harder to have neighborly relations. Wilson Dysard, Al Jazeera.
Wow. How ironic.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
You got the gringos going there, smugging it up, going to Starbucks, walking the dogs, you know what I mean? Driving all the prices up. They're not taking no yobs, though. They're not taking no yobs, but they're driving things up. And then we got people coming from the southern border here, driving things down, but also driving rents up and costs of housing and stuff like that. It's just interesting.
very. I can't. I didn't know they had that perspective. I didn't know it was that much of that going on where it was traveling there.
Oh yeah, especially when the pandemic hit and everybody started working remotely.
Yeah.
A lot of cats are moving there. The cost of living is way cheaper. And to their point, they're not contributing because the taxes are probably coming to the United States. I mean, they're going to Starbucks and they're going out and get them some Mexican food and probably leaving a $3 tip. I saw signs saying pesos, not dollars.
Mm.
Yeah, they're dragging Americans out of there, fella.
Yeah. Last time my mother went to Acapulco, she got sick, and they wouldn't even take the American dollar to pay for her stay in the hospital.
Yeah, and they won't let you leave until the bill's paid in full.
Yeah. Yes, that happened. And that was a decade ago at least. Might be 15 years ago. So this is I I can't believe it.
Yeah, it seems like total opposite of what's going on here,
Yeah. Bizarro world.
isn't it? Yeah, they said the rents have gone up like 57%, bro.
Jeez. Well, yeah, they have here too. They've been going up and up.
Yeah, well, what about the lady who said when we run out of a lot of truth was said there, stripping the resources from other parts of the world, we're gonna come strip them there. Um, I would say if there are resources there, why don't they get with the cartels and start a business and start selling those resources to America?
Um,
They can use
well,
the workforce from Venezuela. Go ahead, bro. And
not sure how sophisticated they are as far as getting getting the wealth out of the land. I'm sure there are already plenty of corporations doing that and stripping their resources. Now they could take over those, operations and get all the resources and kick those people out of there. They could do that.
yeah, that's what it looks like they're starting. They were looting. Let's see, what natural resources are in Mexico? Yeah, we've got Coca-Cola, taking all the water and with little fresh water they have and using it to make Coca-Cola and their water supply has been ruined more than it already was.
Yeah.
So
Amongst other things, I'm sure. I mean, this land that we live on, it's connected. Mexico is not a different, land piece. So I would assume that most of the same resources that are here are there. That's an
facts.
assumption, though. But
What's your take on her saying the colonizers? I think a lot of people don't realize that the reason they're speaking Spanish is because their government
They have no idea that they were already colonized by
Yeah,
Spanish people, like we were colonized by.
English speaking people.
Yeah, kind of.
What do you mean, kind
Um, a lot of this language came from here. That's where it's a mixture of a whole bunch, and it was trade language. It was a commerce language. A lot of it comes from here, and that's why it's spoken differently. They got whole different connotations and stuff in England.
So, minerals in Mexico. Mexico is one of the world's top silver producers.
Yeah, I should have known that. And copper should be up there too.
Significant contributor to the GDP, gold. Copper and zinc, key exports with growing demand. Iron ore and coal, used domestically and for export. Other minerals, lead, molybdenum, never heard of that. Molybdenum, and fluorite. Oil, major reserves in Tabasco, Veracruz, and offshore in the Gulf of America is renamed. Natural gas, including large shale gas deposits. We mentioned coal. Crops, corn, wheat, sugarcane, tomatoes, oranges, coffee, cocoa,
Cocoa?
bananas,
I didn't know they had cocoa.
cacao, CACAO,
Mm-hmm.
bananas, mangoes, pineapples, sugar, coffee, tropical fruits, high potential for solar wind because they get some winds, solar energy, geothermal, active volcanic zones provide energy opportunities, and hydropower. Rivers and dams support regional electricity. Timber, extensive forests in southern and central Mexico, water resources vital for agriculture. What's the problem? You're saying that they don't have scientists? What do you mean they're not sophisticated? You're saying that the Mexican peoples can't figure out how to do the same thing we're doing here? They're over here doing all the work, allegedly.
Well, no, they're not. But that's another case. I mean, they're not doing the high uh, uh, institutional jobs that are running technology, and that's what I meant by that. And the corporations, the government isn't is allowing the corporations to do what they do, and not for the people.
Corruption.
Yes,
I
so
would
similar to here.
I would think corruption is worse, is a bigger issue than them not being sophisticated. I mean, there's a
I
lot
think
of college grads
yeah.
and
I think you're right.
engineers, scientists in Mexico. Some of them are educated here. Just they're not all working class people. You know, some people,
Yeah, I
you
agree.
know, but then they're
Oh,
going to run into the corruption. Go ahead, bro.
yeah, I was saying not saying I was saying they're not sophisticated enough by stating the corruption. Basically, the government is bartering it off, or not even bartering off, selling it off to other places
Yeah, Americans and Chinese.
and other places, a bunch of places.
Molybdenum is a
What is
metallic element with the symbol Mo. All right. MO. And atomic number 42.
okay?
It's a
42.
gray, hard, and corrosion resistant metal that plays a crucial role both industrially and biologically. It's used for steel and alloys, electronics, and plays a role in refining petroleum and chemical manufacturing. Your body needs tiny amounts of this to function properly. It helps enzymes break down toxins, drugs, and waste products naturally present in legumes, grains, leafy vegetables, and meats. Found in the Earth's crust, often extracted from the mineral mols, MOS. Countries like Mexico, China, the US, and Chile are major producers. So I think, to your point, they're in competition against us. And somehow we might be suppressing.
America, rather. Yeah.
Well, us, U.S.
Good point.
Yeah, and we might be suppressing their ability to thrive.
Definitely.
I mean, this issue seems like a fixable issue, bro. Uh, you either got to make Mexico part of the United States, or there's got to be a lot of investment in that country. And I can't understand what the problem is. Like Canada's doing fine.
Corruption and the cartels.
Yeah, but I think maybe the cartels are a symptom of the corruption. You know, people are starving and everything, and you got to get it how you get it. You know what I mean? Like,
Good, definitely a good point.
yeah, in a lot of
Could
ways,
definitely be that way. That's facts. That could be.
yeah, a lot of ways the cartels, bro, are helping the people. You know how it goes, man. Just like they labeled, they label people gangs and bad, and sometimes they're helping the people, bro.
Sometimes. But I hear from some Mexicans that I know that say that they're extorting the people and doing bad stuff, and not just from the media. Now, if it was just strictly coming from the media, I would agree with you 100%.
You mean extorting the businesses and stuff?
Yeah, they're extorting everything, extorting everybody. Say that's why. Well, at least they feel that that's why the largest problems they're having there.
All right, but allegedly El Salvador cleaned it up in less than a year.
Locking up all the people.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they know who the cartel people are. So, I mean, can't act like they don't.
Yeah, well, big ups to the cartel. I don't need no problems. All right, how the big beautiful law affects everyday people, immigration riots in Mexico. Please hit that like button, y'all. Yeah, I just find it yeah, all right, Brother Wordsmith is solving the today's dome teaser. Yeah, it's ironic, bro. It's ironic, and so it seems like a simple fix. We're allegedly going. United States citizens are going there, running the prices up. They're coming here looking for opportunity. It's got to be a fix there.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming here not just looking for an opportunity, they're running up the bills here. And, we're supporting them, or the country's supporting them, and they're getting more benefits than the average citizen. So
Yeah.
they've
And
been
Mex
trying to fake like they want to eliminate that border for a long time. Mm, It was I forgot the name, Amera something was going to be a currency that was supposed to be happening between us, U.S., Mexico, and Canada.
that's never going to happen.
That's just something that was in was it in Behold the Pale Horse?
Yeah, you mean similar to the euro and Amero or something,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's never going to happen. The United States will blow everybody up before they agree to something like that. Control the money, you control the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity, man. We talked about these minerals. We talked about, uh, man, they got people willing to work. And it's got to be corruption on our end, politicians, and their end, because capitalism needs to have an underbelly. It's going to create haves and have nots. and the haves can't have it all if the have-nots have too much. And you leave people hungry enough and desperate enough, well, they'll pretty much accept any job. Which, and all this, it's come down to AI. Once AI comes, we've talked about this. It's going to be a whole. Oh my God! Once they get the robotics perfected and
over, it's all over for those jobs.
Man,
I was telling people today at my job that I said, yeah, they don't need us to do this, and it won't be long for AI to be doing this work.
Correct. Which is a perfect segue, Karen. It's a perfect segue into this.
The unemployment rate for new college grads has recently surged, and some economists say businesses are now replacing entry-level jobs with artificial intelligence. Here's CBS's Ali Bauman.
Front gate, front gate.
22-year-old Michael Macaluso just earned his degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Connecticut.
Good school.
But this summer, he's back helping manage his hometown pool. He hasn't found a job in his field despite applying for nearly 200 positions.
Did you have any expectations about what the job market would be like when you graduated?
I was told by a lot of people that I was going to get a job right out of college, and then all of a sudden, there's no jobs.
New research finds now, for the first time ever, the unemployment rate among recent college graduates has exceeded the national unemployment rate, ballooning to 6.6% over the past 12 months. Oxford Economics' Matthew Martin.
This kind of goes against what you would expect. Those with higher educational attainment usually have better employment prospects than those with less educational attainment.
Martin's team believes companies are eliminating formative entry-level jobs, the work handed over to artificial intelligence. Tech companies are leading the way.
AI is permeating every aspect of our lives.
Nariman Farvardin, the president of Stevens Institute of Technology, says his school has been preparing for the AI revolution for the last 10 years. He expects disruption throughout the workforce will be bigger than the disturbance brought on by the introduction of the internet, and it could last up to 15 years.
I think AI has the potential to either augment or maybe totally replace jobs that are physically or cognitively repetitive. These jobs are not only done by entry people. There are certain people who do repetitive things for all of their life. Those jobs are in jeopardy.
Kaylee Totlin just graduated from Stevens with her computer science degree. She did an internship with Verizon as a sophomore, and the company has now hired her.
I think something that's important with entry-level jobs is the networking and the opportunities that you make from it.
Farvardin says his message to students today is the same as it always has been: get an education that will last a lifetime.
We don't try to teach our students skills. We try to teach students a way to learn on their own for the rest of their lives.
He says workers who innovate alongside AI won't get left behind. Ali Bauman, CBS News, Eastchester, New York.
Bro, I used to talk to college kids 4 years ago. Hey, are you in high school? Or are your professors? Is anybody discussing any of this? While you're running up those student loans and getting all these degrees? No, they don't even. No, they don't even. Oh, or like 2 years ago, they started talking about it, but they weren't even talking about it. So if we were talking about it right here on this show, and everyone was told that it's just going to be, your driving jobs, your low level this job. Oh
no.
These finance people, the bank doesn't need that person with that finance degree. They got the AI that can do all of that.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to be any of them positions. The college and university system is going to slow down. Believe me.
Going back to what what's his name? Kwame, the Busty Bus. What's his name? Kwame Brown, the Busty Bus. Was that his name? Yeah, trades. It's going to go to trades, but those are going to be gone once they get that robotics figured out.
It's almost there. All that's going to be gone. All of it. It's I mean, the cost to do it is going to outweigh having the people do it. They on it. Supposedly, the part of the plan is having a universal income so they can control the whole population. And if you're not acting right, then they
Cut you
just cut
off.
off your cut off your income.
Well, I find it interesting. You know, we did a show, AI is going to be the death of capitalism. I just find it interesting that the people aren't telling their lawmakers, stop this.
If they did in any numbers, the media wouldn't show that.
Sure would.
So they would put out that everybody's happy and satisfied.
Sure would.
You know,
And
trying
they'd
to go to
suppress
like,
everything else.
yeah, suppress it all. Just like that guy said, you own nothing and be happy.
Man,
Devil.
what was that movie, bro, where they left the people on Earth, but they built it's a sci-fi movie. They built a new
Ellipsian or something?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
It might be now.
Hunger Games was talking about it.
Yeah. That's all predictive programming.
And when I talk to people, the entry level. I mean, this guy got a mechanical engineering degree, and he was told they should ask him, who told you that? Because, yeah, man, when cats were coming out of U of I with those degrees, man, they had jobs before they even got the degree.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, also, U of I is like was top 5 engineering school.
Still, man, a guy coming out of UConn entry level, 200, 300 applications, no hits, bro.
No, that's BS to the max. And that means that what we said is true, that AI is, I mean, it's more efficient and it can work 24 hours a day. We've been through all this. We've said it all. I mean,
No, you're right. They don't have any HR issues with it.
No.
It doesn't need a vacation. It's not going to call off sick.
No, just plug in information you want to, work with, and it will get better over time too.
Then you shouldn't need the CEO.
That's eventually.
So what's a company without people?
Well, they say a corporation is a person. So it's ironic that they said that, and they're pushing this narrative that you're gonna be calling AI people. They're gonna have some rights and stuff at some point.
They said economists, bro, finance people, lawyers, entry level doctors, nurses, all the delivery jobs, truck drivers, everything, bro.
Tow truck.
No, certain people don't believe that.
They don't have to believe anything.
You're right. Because even if the AI truck can't do everything, they'll have that robot in there, jump right off the back of that truck. Won't he jump right out of there and hook up anything?
I mean, the tow truck will be able to do whatever a person can.
Yeah.
So they'll learn all of the tricks and all of that from the tow truck drivers.
And even if there's some things it can't do initially, it's still removing a lot of towing jobs.
Yeah.
So you'll have hot specialists, but the entry level, the person whose dad might owns a company. If your dad don't own the company, you're never going to learn that skill because it's going to be done by computers.
Yeah.
But it begs the question.
Like I said, they're going to teach them, the tow truck drivers that can do this very special stuff. They don't have to be willing teachers, but they're going to be teachers. Robots, the AI is going to film them doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And then learn
it's
how
already
to do
track
it.
Yeah.
So, you don't have to even be a willing participant.
Funny you mention that. They lost a lawsuit some writers and actors, Ellen DeGeneres, I think, was one. Just recently, came out of the news yesterday. They were suing Meta for doing just what you said, using their content to create this AI, and they lost.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what we're here. Like people, we're wacky conspiracy theorists, and that never happened in those machines. We're here.
Man. If you don't believe all the predictive programming that you're seeing, these movies and such, iRobot and
Yeah.
things of that nature. Dang, it's a couple of straight AI movies where the AI learns how to manipulate people and
Yeah. Ex Machina.
gets out of the control and writes messages to a future AI to avoid human control and how to do it. And now, wait a minute, that's not even the movie. It was Dan Calloway had a video on about that yesterday, and it was showing a newscast where they were talking about the AI.
Yeah, I talked about that on this show. Yeah, talking about extorting people and yeah. It just begs the question. Certain people won't need people anymore. If not you, but if you guys
Absolutely.
think they're just going to print up money and allow us to pollute the world and create traffic and just do art and play music all day and hang out in the park dancing and painting, you guys don't know the top of the pyramid. Like I think, they won't need us.
No.
We'll truly be useless eaters.
That's what they're coming to. That's why they made the statement in the first place, because they feel like we're slaves as it is.
Correct.
And they can replace the slaves with a non-living entity, then shit, it's right up their alley.
Right up their alley. And if they don't need the slaves, then you're going to be, and I saw a movie like that, you're going to be sterilized at birth. Eventually the human population will go down, and you'll have very elite people just living with all these robots wiping their bum for them.
Yeah, they can eliminate sex. It seems like they're trying to go that way now. They're trying to make everybody amorphic, apomorphic.
I don't know. Your quarterback says he's autosexual.
And I don't know what that means. And I really don't care as long as he performs on the field, what he does in his personal
I'm
life.
just pointing it out that,
what does that mean?
That generation is
already headed in that direction.
Yeah, they're already getting them there, bro. You got they, thems, autosexuality is a sexual orientation in which a person feels primary or exclusive sexual attraction to themselves. It's not just about enjoying solitude this is your quarterback and you don't care. It's not just about enjoying solitude or self-pleasure. It's about being generally aroused by one's own body, image, or presence. Key traits of autosexuality: self-focused attraction. Arousal is centered on oneself, not others. Solo preference. Many autosexual individuals prefer self-intimacy over partnered sex. Not narcissism. It's an orientation, not a personality disorder. Autosexuality is about attraction, not ego. Can coexist with other identities. Some autosexual people also identify as asexual, bisexual, or romantically attracted to others. There now.
Yeah, well, as long as he goes out there and throws that football like he's supposed to and run that offense like he is and win games, I don't see why his opinion of himself or anything is relevant.
I mean, at some point, it's going to affect how you lead, in my opinion. It could affect how you prepare, in my opinion. It could affect your relationships with other human beings, in my opinion.
Well, there have been some great athletes that are horrible people. and
haven't had
their leadership has been very much questioned, especially now in this softer, gentler. Uh, uh,
I mean, I like to
don't
agree with you and
don't
say I
know.
don't care. You know what I mean? I'd like to say it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But it seems to matter so far. So we, you know what I mean?
I don't really say I don't. It doesn't matter. I just say I don't care. You know what I mean? I
As long as
didn't
you
say
win
it.
some football
Yeah,
games.
it doesn't. I'm not saying it doesn't matter, and it can come out in ways that you thought. I'm not disagreeing on that. I'm just it's. I've got enough of my own issues to be concerned with and work on and perfect, uh, than to be dealing with somebody else's issues or concerned about them, where it's affecting me.
Yeah, we all do.
Right.
But
Win some
he's our
football
quarterback.
games. They drafted him. We didn't have no choice in that. And he, I just want him to perform like, the typical good player performs that's picked
It
at
could
that
help him.
position.
It could help him because
It's possible.
he's not going to be in the news. He's not going to have any allegations of sexual assault and things of that nature. You know what I mean? So it could help him.
Yeah, I
You
mean, he's
know,
focused on himself, so maybe he's just focused on football.
yeah, he's not going to get a gold digger latched onto him, but he's somehow dating a top model, and she's an autosexual too. So I'd love to see how their dates go. Yeah, don't look at me. You know what I mean?
They're on their phones,
Yeah,
looking at stuff about themselves,
yeah,
talking to each other, but
yeah,
about themselves.
yeah. Sending themselves sex videos of themselves. But like you said, I mean, God bless them.
Yeah, play good
But
football.
we digress. I said that because it's an indicator
Of where this whole
you've
thing is going.
never heard of such a term, and now there's such a term.
Yeah.
I'm sure these people probably always existed, but we just called it porn addiction or something. They've made it scientific.
Yeah, I think they've been directed in this to move in this. I mean, it's a lot of things we didn't have a name for, but it's a whole lot of predictive programming and
You made a good point.
the way they are directing a certain
Yes,
direction and
yes,
making the generations
yeah. But
with
I
a
thought
different tone.
no, but you made me think. I'd love to interview him about this because
Yeah,
I thought it would be, yeah, okay, you just like sex
narcissist
with yourself. But no, he wouldn't watch porn. He would be watching video of
of
himself.
himself doing something
Wow.
to himself.
Yeah, it don't matter. It don't matter. It don't it don't matter. All right. How the big beautiful law affects everyday people, immigration riots in Mexico. We got the dome teaser. I'm born from debate, but not from a womb. I live in the halls where the gavels boom. I bind many parts in a single scroll with promises grand and a partisan soul. Some call me progress, others appeal. What am I? This big, beautiful blank. I can assure you guys, Brother Wordsmith has already solved it. That riddle is in the chat. Feel free to type it in there. If you think you know the answer, we'll let you know if you're warm or cold, and we'll give you the response at the end of today's show. All right, there, Brother Wordsmith. Enough of the appetizers out there.
Let's quench the self-love nation's thirst.
So, Karen, we don't have a promo video, but we do have a video that's related to the topic. So, if you can run that, thank you, Karen.
Some Illinois nonprofits are getting ready for major cuts due to the president's, quote, big, beautiful bill that he's.
All your government people and your quote, unquote, nonprofits, they're up in a tizzy over the bill.
And
signed into law.
Ooh, the arts. Man, I work with a company and they lost a 50 rack
monthly stipend.
Well, it was a 50 rack grant that they were getting annually. It wasn't,
yeah,
monthly or anything.
Still 50 stacks.
Yeah, that's man. Whew, that can crush your programming. You got to change, make some changes out there.
Yeah.
On July 4th.
Political reporter Paris Schutz is in the newsroom to explain how this bill will impact the state of Illinois. Paris?
Yeah, Terrence, there are 3.4 million Illinoisans that receive Medicaid benefits and nearly 2 million that receive supplemental nutrition assistance, also known as SNAP, or food stamps. Now, the Congressional Budget Office has predicted that 5 million Americans could lose Medicaid coverage in the coming years due to cuts in this new spending bill. Namely, the new provisions increase work requirements, and the same goes for SNAP benefits. Now, Jim Cromwell of the Greater Food Depository of Chicago says the cuts could cut or eliminate food benefits for 500,000 Illinoisans.
That's going to impact older adults in their early 60s as the age ranges change. It's going to impact families with school-age children. It can impact veterans and other people who had significant barriers to full-time work.
In addition to cuts to Medicaid and SNAP, the bill provides $100 billion in new funding for ICE and operations at the border. It eliminates taxes on tips and overtime work and expands child tax credits as well as deductions for local real estate taxes. Now, the bill will increase the debt limit to $5 trillion, and the Congressional Budget Office estimates it will add $3.4 trillion to the debt in the next 10 years. Governor Pritzker has said that this bill would cost the state of Illinois $1 billion to make up for those lost benefits. But downstate Peoria Congressman Darren LaHood, who voted for the bill, has a different view. He thinks it'll be a win-win for the state. In a statement, he says, quote, "This legislation invests in the future of Illinois agriculture, protects high-paying manufacturing jobs in Illinois' 16th congressional district while boosting local economies across central and northwest Illinois." And we're going to have much
high-paying manufacturing jobs is going to be taken by AI and robotics.
That's like promising to trickle down.
Oh, yeah, Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
Trickle down economics.
Yeah. How did that work out?
I mean, they're reducing SNAP and Medicaid and things of this nature there, fella. And yet we're on the one hand under the illusion that there's going to be a universal income. I mean, they're telling you what their mindset is. They could care less if you starve until
certain populations, until they get the population level that they want. That's what they're looking to do. But as always, I have to state that they always fail.
Until the people rise up and start going on those hills and snatching them out of their mansions, which has been done historically over and over again. And they don't tell us that because they say, "Oh, this big empire failed, but we don't know what happened." Oh, you know what happened.
Yeah.
You know what happened. Just like what happened in the French Revolution and happened in England. They go into those castles, they go up to Palo Alto, they go to all these people where they're smuggling it up with all this money, and they yank them and they chop their heads off, or whatever the case might be. You know what I mean? And they reset the whole thing.
Take their resources.
Yes. Yes.
Spread it to the people.
Yes. And then eventually they weasel their way back in.
It's cyclical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. How the big, beautiful law affects everyday people. Big, beautiful law for dummies. So we're going to take the big, beautiful bill at a glance. So, as they mentioned, border and immigration. So we'll start with that. More wall, more tech, as I said, drones, more patrols, faster deportations, fewer appeals, asylum seekers held in neighboring countries. All right, what's your take on that?
Wow, it's a lot to chew on out there.
Yeah, more wall, more tech, more patrols. What's your take on that?
I think that's going to happen.
You like it?
As long as it stays at the border, but I know that it won't. That's my issue with it.
You mean they're going to build a wall around California?
No, they're going to just search inside the wall and secure and take more security measures or whatever everywhere. as opposed to just at the ball.
That's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, so
all you need is these
that's
so-called lawmakers to write a bill. You know what I mean? And
know what the lobbyists want, and the politicians are going to follow that.
Yeah, we're gonna have drones all over the place between Amazon and then those security drones. Amazon's probably going to partner with them, so those drones that they're going to put all over the place are going to be security drones as well.
Well, the security will have access to the footage.
Yes, to the drone.
They
can. They can tap right into the camera.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The footage, even if it's live footage or whatever, and be able to look at stuff. When you say tap into the drone, I was thinking controlling it, be able to take over control, which could be fathomable.
Yeah,
you know,
if they partner with them.
Yeah, that whatever you are supposed to be delivering is not as important as national security.
Nah, nothing's as important as national security, there, fella.
Let them tell it anyway.
Nothing. You know, if you file a Freedom of Information Act, they're going to redact 99% of it in the name of national security. Why don't they write a bill that says, F you, World Bank, we're not paying the debt? Why don't they write that bill?
Because they're all getting paid by that entity.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple. We got the strongest army allegedly in the world.
It's corruption. Pure and simple is the answer to that question.
Yeah, we got the strongest army in the world, military, this and that. And you're telling me we're trillions of dollars in debt. You know what? We're not going to pay it. What are you going to do about it?
We ain't going to never pay it anyway. That's not getting paid.
Well, what they do is they'd hit that button and have their media and the whole world to be against us. China, Russia, all our allies, NATO. You know what I mean? That's what they'll do.
And then our media would act like none of that's happening. We're still the best in the world and all of that. Most of us would not even know.
All right. Faster deportations, fewer appeals. How does that strike you? I know. It's a wobbler.
Yeah, it is.
I like it, but
I know it's something in there that I don't like. I know it is.
Yeah, they could snatch you up and be wrong, and then you don't get the due process. You know, some jackass could say you got here from Haiti illegally, and you don't get the due process, and you gone.
That's appeals.
Yes.
Some appeals, but I don't know.
Fewer appeals.
Yeah.
True.
So, I just don't trust. It's a 900-page document for a reason.
Yeah.
So glossing over it and getting these points, I know there's something to that part that I don't like. It has to be. I know that's just not one sentence in the whole thing. You know what I mean?
And asylum seekers held in neighboring countries. Has this been approved by the neighboring countries? Just like when they were supposed to build the wall?
Well, some of them have, because they took that one guy that wasn't supposed to be deported and deported him to a different country.
That's El Salvador. They'll put anybody in prison.
Yeah, that big prison.
Yeah, they went prison crazy.
That gonna be a prison state the way they acting.
Yeah, that'll be a whole nation of prisons. It's like those movies we used to watch in the 80s, bro.
Yeah. I mean, all predictive programming, bro.
Escape from El Salvador. You know what I mean? The whole nation will be a prison.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. All right. Economy and taxes. Major tax cuts for corporations. I know I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. I know what that means.
I mean, how much more cuts can they get? They're already paying nothing.
You pay less.
And this is opposite of what they've been doing in Europe. In Europe, they're forcing those people, those corporations, or people, as you mentioned, to pay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what Ronald Reagan had. What was it, 80% tax on super rich? Something enormous and ridiculous.
And he got rid of the budget, the deficit. We were in the green.
He cut a lot of stuff off of regular people too.
Well, he cut the federal insane asylums. That's for sure. That's why we got crazy homeless people running around America.
He stopped minors from getting Social Security until they finish college and cut off at 18.
Yeah, he cut guys from getting public aid.
Man, he cut so much stuff. But even all that cutting he did, he still charged the super rich. It was a ridiculous
Well, the
rate.
super rich is different from the corporations, though.
Yeah, the corporations didn't have as much power as they do now. They weren't able to. It was a limit to how much they could contribute to any campaign and all of that, and as lobbyists and all those things as such. It was limits. So
Yeah, they need to pay taxes. I don't care what they're lobbying. I do care about that. I'm saying they need to pay taxes, bro. Corporations.
Yes.
They're stripping, as that lady said in Mexico City. They're stripping the resources from our resources, and then they're saying they're creating jobs, which is slavery, and we're doing work, and then they pay little to no taxes, and then they lobby, to your point, the politicians to keep it sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think you've been saying it. You were hinting towards it maybe last week or the week before. The time is coming. You saw when they were wiping poops on the wall. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's coming. I know that their plans. That's why I talk about their plans, with a grain of salt, and and what they're trying to do, because that's what it
it's
is.
coming.
They're trying to do it because
the people are about to rise up.
They don't ever succeed.
But they have to rise up before they get all those robots and drones. Choo, 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 choo. AI kill everybody.
The problem with that is there's still, for the most part, regular people in the armed forces, for the most part. So,
but the AI is not regular people.
It's not, but it's going to be controlled to a certain degree by regular people.
When the AI is, I hear you, it's being programmed to a certain extent. Maybe they'll have worms in them, but the AI, bro, this is what I've been saying, bro. Once they get that AI, yes, the army is us, it's our children. But when they have robotic soldiers that Elon Musk has clearly said, and we got drones they're testing right now in that so-called war in Ukraine and Russia. Once some jackass can just hit the button, okay, choo, 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 choo. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about a human. I'm talking about the jackass at the top, the general. And they unleash the AI to kill the people. And we're told that the AI is programmed not to harm humans. But if it can be programmed not to harm humans, it could be programmed to harm humans.
Yeah, I know that there are some people in the AI field that have developed some empathy and type of programming that can be introduced, that has been introduced to some AI.
And we'd have counter drones.
That AI will interact with the other AI because they already talk to themselves, and it could go either way.
Well, we can have counter drones too.
Yeah.
Right. So they'll have their drones killing people, and we can have our drones killing them and killing their AI.
Yeah.
It's Terminator, bro.
That's what predictive programming is. That's what they want us to believe. That's how it's going to be. But like I said, even in Terminator, they fail.
Deregulation to boost U.S. businesses. Yeah, I know I don't like that. The regulation was a reason. They came up with regulation for a reason. I mean, I'm a regulator, for God's sakes.
Yeah, and this country don't need to be regulating nothing. Because their choice and decisions on what to regulate.
So you're cool with the deregulation of this? So you're okay with that bullet point?
No, I just don't like. I think it should be regulated, but I don't think the people controlling this country should regulate it.
Right. They only regulate the ones that haven't paid the lobbyists, that haven't greased the palms the most.
That's,
Right.
Yeah. So that's my problem with it.
And then they got a happy hiring incentives for American workers. I like that on its surface, right? I like that on its surface.
Yeah, but how many of these bills and laws do you like on the surface, what they read about, until you found out the buried material that they had to include because of politics, and they had to put it in there, otherwise it wouldn't have passed and all of that. So, I'd have to see the whole thing. It's so many times it's been something that's, totally necessary on the surface level, but it's some minutia and BS throughout the law.
Well, yeah, and the corporations who aren't paying taxes will just say, well, if I got to pay more, okay, I'm going to get more for hiring Americans. Okay, I get it. So I'm going to get more free money for hiring slaves and then underpaying them, and I'm going to get more free money, and I'm already not paying my taxes.
Yeah. Ridiculousness.
And that money's coming from us, our taxpayers.
Lobby influenced.
Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah,
Period.
that money's coming from us. The hiring incentives will be paid by taxes, taxpayer dollars, right? Right.
So they say.
So interesting. So yeah, I'd have to look at that too, because if you have a certain percentage of American workers, then maybe then we can give you all these tax shields. But if you don't hit that threshold, whether it's AI, whether it's a foreigner, you know what I mean? You got to pay your damn taxes so we can generate this universal income. You don't think it's like that, knowing what you know about the forked tongues.
Right.
That's how it's simple. Simple. You know what I mean? It's simple.
It's been operated under a forked tongue since we encountered them when they got here.
Yeah. Stacy Miner said, "Big beautiful bill, huh?" And she laughed and said, "Toad, ha." I don't know what she means by that. And then she said, "Be right back." I don't know what she meant by toad. I wish I'd have seen that earlier.
Yeah, me too, because I know we said something.
I know, right? All right, y'all. How the big beautiful law affects everyday people. And we already talked about the immigration protests going on in Mexico City against Americans. Yes, if they were showing on some different videos, Americans was in a bad way, and I'm surprised Trump ain't sent the army over there. He's got them in MacArthur Park in L.A. He because
they're gonna be a state along with Canada.
How the story go, it's the Self Luv Show.
Yes, y'all. We don't stop. Self Luv Show rocks on. And when you hear our theme music, you know what that means. That we have some very, very entertaining videos for you to consume and lead yourself to major growth. Got a few of them. They're beautiful. And when we get back after those videos, we're going to expand the conversation to the Self-Love Nation. See you in a bit. All right, Karen.
Finally got you. I've been waiting on you since you was a kid. So this is a demon that's been plotting on me since birth. Finally got you. I've been waiting on you since you was a kid. So this is a demon that's been plotting on me since birth. That's his assignment. And he's laughing, but I'm hearing music, but I'm looking at the girl and her stuff. I'm looking at my body dead, and I'm still able to see the TV.
So is it music or a sound?
Music and a sound. All at once. Dreadful, thunder noise. drill music, demonic. Yes, it's a blended. It's a mix. It blends in. It'd be the most terrifying noise while sounding like thunder. But as you can hear it clear as day, and it's like it's in your spirit, so it sounds like it's loud. It sounds like you like screaming so loud. Because I was eventually started to peel my face off. I peeled my face off, and I didn't even feel it because I was so focused on it. I felt it, but everything was so blended. I don't even know if my face grew back. I started screaming, and I was screaming so loud, it was as if blood could have came out of my mouth.
So you wonder where they get all the rocks to throw? Never seen this sitting here before. And they're doing riots.
Moses fleeing the people from Pharaoh.
Right, let my people go.
40 years in a desert. Manna. Let's talk about what manna truly is. And
Aganoski's in the Middle East right now saying manna is Peter.
Can we put some sensibility to that? Being in the desert, and our Father, the Creator, loves us beyond. And he's gonna rain down bread in a desert. Moses summoned the strongest men for them to dig, and that's where the whole term of so it is above, so it is what?
Below.
That means that Moses had the science for them to dig and find water.
Yeah, like the elephants can do.
So what do you find, even in the desert, when you dig down and find water? Do you find bread or do you find plants?
You sounding like this shit is the wheel or something, like it's gonna change the world. Look, man, I don't know about all that change the world shit, but what I do know is that they be going crazy over this, man. I'm telling you. And the bitches, oh Lord, the bitches, yo, they do anything for this.
For some odd reason, a guy who had not been a heavy student in biology, math, or any of these things somehow managed to ace that test. I don't know to this day how it happened, but to the extent that sometimes I wondered, did they get the scores mixed up? But whatever, all of a sudden it went from you don't have anything to do to you're going to college, you're going to medical school. And so this is where that sort of double edge comes in. It wasn't something that I necessarily had ever picked up, but I took it when it came. So, you take the wave as it moves. So if things shift, you pivot.
Well, you mentioned the universe. What propelled you to say, hey, I'm going to take the MCAT? Was it something your dad was telling you to do? What propelled you to even take it? Like, I never dreamed, man, you know what I mean? So like,
on that one?
Yeah.
The noobs. And I don't mean it I mean this in a genuine fashion as I can say it.
You're asking me to warn you about an enforcement action being taken by another agency before it happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Why not?
That would be obstruction of justice. You may want to talk to the city attorney.
Air quotes expert.
If we were educated, we would know that Kamala Harris is part of the Boule. We would know that those organizations have been in existence for hundreds of years. And if they are planning 500 years in advance, how can you compete if you don't educate yourself? Barack Obama, Trump, and Biden, none of them did anything for any of us. And Kamala Harris is going to follow that same trend. She might smile in your face. She might have caramel skin. She might pour hot sauce on her food.
You have no idea. This is how my mother kept all of her stuff.
At the end of the day, she's not going to do anything for us. And when we realize that none of them are going to do anything for us, and we got to start our own, we'll be better off. The first government is a husband and wife and a family, and then the extended family. And if that husband and that wife is not financially planning for the future, they're going to suffer.
Man, I thank you guys for inviting me on. Thank you. Great format, very solid. It don't have that low budget movie feel. You know what I'm saying? And we get that a lot in the Black community, for real. Yeah. Like people look at us to be fuck ups. They look at us to be low budget. They look at us to be ignorant, stuttering, and use a whole bunch of and all of that. But no, they got the real deal on here. That everybody know who Torian Mills is, baby. They know.
Hey, well, bro,
They so ignorant, man.
ignorant.
They're so
Hey, but this platform's your platform. This platform's my platform. From Inglewood, California to
to the
Chicago,
South
Illinois.
Shore.
Crazy thing about it.
This platform is
Is
made
for you and me.
It's made for
The
you.
Do
crazy.
ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. I was trying to get out the end of the preamble, but go ahead, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, y'all. Don't stop. Self Love Show. Rocks on. You like those videos? Entertainment at its best.
Self Love Show. The Self Love Show. Wordsmith 9
Mills.
Self Love Show. The Self Love Show. You know how the story go.
It's the Self Love Show. Were you not edutained? TATN has amazing content. Y'all gotta lock in. So if you're not, go ahead and hit that bell, subscribe.
It's the Self Love Show.
Make sure you hit the thumbs up, give it some likes, let the algorithm know you approve, so it'll know how to move.
The Self Love Show. Wordsmith 9 Mills. Self Love Show. The Self Love Show. You know how the story go. It's the Self Love Show.
We've been, playing off of the Dummies book and the Big Beautiful Law for Dummies.
Well, yeah, let's go into it a little bit more. So yeah, that what I was saying, I looked in depth. So yeah, they are offering tax incentives for corporations that hire U.S. citizens over foreign labor. Secondly, they are reversing the great Ronald Reagan, who previous to quote unquote, I'm being tongue in cheek here if anybody doesn't know me. They're reversing his policies for the even greater quote unquote Donald Trump. So introduces broad tax cuts for corporations and high income earners. So he's not just cutting it for corporations. He's also for high income owners like, for instance, Elon Musk.
Well, now that's probably a bad example because he gets paid he only gets paid in stock for his company or whatever. So he doesn't really get a dollar amount. That's why he's valued at something because it's not liquid. But I know what you're saying. Someone who earns a lot of money, more like Jeff Bezos and
well, yeah, the reason Elon was doing that is to get around the taxes.
Yeah, exactly.
So now he can take this money and put it in his pocket. And for, athletes, you get a record deal and you sell 1 billion records. This is nuts. And then reduces federal business regulations to encourage domestic investment. Right. But they use that. Tell us these lies in America, bro. But at the same time, Europe has proven that those corporations ain't going nowhere when you tax their ass. They don't go nowhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere. All right. Part 2 for dummies. We should have had that in the title. The Big Beautiful Law for Dummies. Defense, and security. All right. So they're increasing military and military cyber funding. Sounds like a money grab to me, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's on the positive side, you have to be able to protect from cyber attacks. On the negative side, they're going to do the attacking.
Yeah, false flag attacks. They've been doing it.
They're setting up the laws so that, legal to do it.
They never say we want to pay entry-level soldiers and Marines more money with this increased military budget.
Oh no. Those people they don't make enough money for what they are expected to do.
Yeah, if that money was going into them, I'd high five Donald Trump. If you were spending that money on when they have PTSS or PTSD, and they're laying around homeless, and you're spending that money on the hospitals, the VA, and benefits for them, I'd high five Donald Trump. But this is for killing machines. The cyber part, I hear you.
It says look, I didn't read the whole thing, but I got the gist of it. Situation it says veteran advocacy, expand mental health support, job placement, and reintegration services for those who served.
Well, that's great. Is it getting them more money?
Doesn't say anything about any money.
You know what I mean? Like your kid decides, I'm going to join and serve my country.
Job placement, I guess. I don't know.
Well, that's when they get out. But I'm saying, paying the soldiers more money, the people who are fighting these wars.
Yeah.
You see anything in there about that? I'm asking.
No, it just says veteran advocacy.
Well, at least they're doing that.
Advocacy, okay. Yeah. They put something in there, some glossing.
Mm-hmm.
But I still know that it's more in writing than this. And I would really like to see what it boils down to is I'm going to have to read the damn thing.
Yeah, it's online, man. I start reading like 100 pages. I was like, it's programmed for you to not read it.
Yes.
Expanded detention powers. What does that mean? Who are they detaining?
It doesn't, this doesn't say. You have to look to see if they actually say who they're detaining, because that could be anybody. That could be citizens and foreigners alike. Could be any and all. So I don't like that language.
Yeah. Let's see. It represents one of the most sweeping escalations of okay. Supposedly it's about the immigration. ICE is now funded to detain up to 116,000 people per day, more than double its previous capacity. This includes families, asylum seekers, and undocumented immigrants awaiting hearings or deportation. Sounds like he's like Anakin Skywalker before he became Darth Vader. And he was like, I killed them all. Trump's talking about deporting them all. All. He don't care if somebody cured cancer and AIDS. He's talking about deporting your boy. Not your boy, but the one we were just talking about, the Tesla dude. Elon. Yeah, he said somebody should take a look at his immigration.
How long he's supposed to be here?
Yeah. All the stuff we were saying.
That was just a
I mean?
public threat. That's all that was. It's
a
distraction, no mess.
Yeah, we've been saying that though.
Yeah, that whole little tiff.
Well, whoever ICE catches, they can human traffic. And penal transportation. Yes. I'm looking at the thing. But human trafficking is already happening. If you go on Figueroa, you're gonna see. I was like, whoa. So it's unreal. And if 20% of those young ladies are over 18, I'll be a monkey's uncle.
Yeah.
And that is a result. And they're not, African Americans or Caucasian. They're Venezuelan, Colombian, you know what I mean? Some of them are, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Some of them are, but the sex trafficking is already happening.
Human trafficking is human trafficking as well, probably
Yes.
organ trafficking as well.
Yes.
Some of them people come up missing.
Absolutely, bro. Let me go back to national security. Boost defense spending, particularly for border and cyber operations. Expands federal authority to detain individuals deemed national security risks. There you go.
Yeah, I don't like that.
They can just deem you.
Yeah.
They can listen to our podcast and deem
And
you.
deem us. Yes. Period. Period. I don't like that burden.
Stacey said to build hotels by way of the USA. Yeah, there'll be Trump hotels for detention centers.
Yeah.
Expands federal authority to detain individuals. Okay. Establishes new protocols for vetting foreign aid and international partnerships. You okay with that? I thought we already had protocols for such.
Well, he's like making it, he's trying to American first, so he says so. He doesn't like the way they've been playing the game, so he's trying to change it.
Is he getting this from Putin?
No, this has all been put in place long before he was born. They were waiting on the one that they could use to put him out there.
Okay, so stricter foreign aid conditions, all right, social services, cuts to Medicaid and food stamps. That, many African Americans are in the tissy, and as you should be, but we're not the ones benefiting from these things like the way everybody thinks we are. You've been denied, black man.
Period. Yeah, you're thinking that we're the largest benefactor of those resources. No.
Yeah.
We're not. And
no.
Some of them people can work.
Yes, can't they?
Yes.
Yes, they can. And they'll, just like we have to work, and they can find jobs maybe now that
until AI takes them. But
right.
Up until then.
Now that the deportations happening, you're right. Some of these jobs can be opening up. They're lower level jobs. I know food stamps. I know I haven't heard that term in a while, but that's what ChatGPT put. You know what I mean? It's basically what it is, food stamps. You call it what you want.
You got a lower level of ChatGPT? You said ChatGPT.
That's Stella talking. Stella Artois. Tougher aid eligibility.
Couldn't sue about it though. That's what's great, actually.
Yeah, they can't sue. Tougher aid eligibility rules. Can't get any. You have to know what that means.
That. Yeah, it's gotta be filled out because man, whew. No, they be on some BS. So gotta see what the wording is and then look at the legalese and decipher that and move forward from there.
Yeah, why would you cut Medicaid and food assistance programs if you're putting America, because you're putting America first and not Americans first? He's making America great again and not Americans great again. There's a distinction between those two terms, no?
Very distinct. Very distinct. They're two different terms.
Yeah. And I think his base.
His motto is America. It's not Americans.
Right. But his base, they thought it meant Americans.
Well, his base, he's on record as saying that Republicans are stupid, and that's why he went to the Republican.
Oh, yeah. So on record as saying he could shoot somebody and they'd still vote for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no lie told.
All right. So imposes stricter eligibility requirements for federal aid, tougher aid eligibility rules. He didn't say he was making Americans great again. Correct. Yeah. There's a distinction. Encourages state level control over healthcare and education spending. Now, without being in the minutia, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of stuff on the surface. But I don't know if I like that this capitalist way they make money off the healthcare.
And all our governors are
They,
billionaires by
they
now.
yeah, they'll just deny the shit. So
Right.
you need some service. No, deny. We're
I didn't
gonna
realize
die.
Pritzker's
I'm
from
gonna
the
die.
actual Pritzker family. I didn't realize.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? All these governors are billionaires, bro.
Kennedy affiliated Pritzkers. The rich. Yeah. Yeah, the law schools named after them, and
Yeah.
all sorts of financial school named after them. Them motherfuckers, yeah.
But on the surface, though, because this should be a republic, states should be having more sovereignty.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's supposed to be, the states give the power to the national government, not the other way around.
But he wrote that in so a state could say we're not going to fund abortions and things like that.
Yeah.
Right. 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 I don't think he had anything to do with this bill personally. He's tweeting all night.
Oh, you can tell by the way he talks about it. He
Big
tells
beautiful.
no specifics.
No, you don't know.
We're gonna be great. It's gonna be. You're not gonna believe it. You're not gonna believe it. We're gonna be a rocket ship for economics. Can you tell us anything about the bill?
And he'll have somebody standing next to him, and then
It's a great bill.
Yeah,
we've got some very great people that put it all together, and they
Yeah.
made great things happen, and they're just all great, and it's gonna make America great again.
he ain't read it. He'll bring up somebody, bro. I'll be watching him. He'll bring up somebody. I'll let Tori and Tori's gonna tell you about it. You know what I mean? And then he'll stand there, he'll stand over himself, and then he'll step back up. Oh, Tori's great. Isn't he smart? Isn't he smart? You know what I mean?
Read it.
He didn't even read it. Stacy said he's on drugs, and I find it hard to believe that he says that he's never done any drugs in his life, bro.
Yeah, that's what he says. That's facts.
Is that his biggest lie?
I don't know, man.
Because he seems like he's telling the truth. Listen, if you smoked a blunt with Donald J. Trump, you would change the world.
Man.
Yeah. He'd be like, damn.
He'd get in the slap machine.
If you smoke, but if you smoke a blunt with him, bro, he might see the world different, man.
Yeah,
You know, he might
possible.
see. Yeah. Do you know this? Do you know he's about to get a Nobel Peace fucking prize?
Well, I mean, Obama got one, no?
Yeah.
So I mean, shit.
Yeah.
The deporter in chief.
Right.
He talking all this complaining about him, and the deporter in chief goes right up under the.
She said, Tori's smart. See, he's smart. Yeah. Yeah, as long as he's up there, she said all his people have to call him Trump is Lord. Yeah, as long as Tory, he's got to lead in by saying something great about Trump, and then he's got to exit saying something. Man, somebody was speaking when I was watching it, and it was the dude in charge of ICE. He went up there and said everything, and Trump loved it. And then Trump was trying to shake his hand when he walked away from the podium, and dude left Trump hanging. He said, he's so smart. He's so emotional about it. He didn't even shake my hand. And dude came back, sorry, Mr. Trump. Sorry, Mr. Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's all about that dude, man. How the big, beautiful law affects everyday people, immigration riots in Mexico, which we already talked about. Nobel Peace Prize is like getting a sucker on Halloween. Yeah, it's like getting an apple with a razor blade in it. You know what I mean? But I hear you're a stale sucker too. You remember those suckers? The cheap one that somebody went to the 99-cent store and got 1,000 suckers.
They were there for years.
Yes. Oh, I didn't know y'all was coming.
Yeah. Hold on, let me see what I got.
Looking in their pocketbook.
Man.
Yeah. All right. This is for Dummies Part 3. All right. We do have a video we want to share. It's relevant. We promise you guys. It's going to be relevant. Karen?
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah. You know, she can't find a job. You know, Karen's about to go to grad school here, there, fella. You know, Tony Blair had it all figured out, didn't he, Self?
How the debt works to the debate over it right now. To look at what President Trump's budget bill, which he calls the big beautiful bill, means for the U.S. debt. Congressional
I met this dude named Bill, Self. I've been waiting to use this joke. I'm like, big beautiful Bill. He was a tall white boy too. Big beautiful Bill. I wish my name was Bill. All right. Come on, Karen, you can run it.
Correspondent Lisa Desjardins joins us now from the super screen to explain it all. So, Lisa, if this passes, it would be the largest bill in dollar terms in U.S. history. Just kick us off with what the money involved is here.
Right. For Republicans, this is part of answering what they see as a potential crisis, the end of the Trump tax cuts. The question is this something that adds to a different potential crisis, an American
Her nose is a potential crisis.
debt crisis? So let's look at the money flow in this bill, and let's start with the tax cuts. First of all, Republicans are, in fact, adding some new tax cuts here. Those are the no taxes on tips, overtime, some benefits for seniors. These tax cuts are significant. However, they pale in comparison to the biggest cost in the bill. That is extending those Trump tax cuts. Altogether, the Congressional Budget Office says the tax cuts in this bill add up to $3.7 trillion. That's good news in that that's money taxpayers could keep, but it's also bad news because it comes out of the federal budget and potentially could add to deficits. So, did Republicans pay for this in the bill? According to CBO, no. The money saved in this bill from the cuts, the spending cuts, is $1.3 trillion. Now, this is a significant, historically large number of spending cuts. Healthcare cuts, we've been talking about Medicaid, green energy, student loans. This is a big number, but it is much smaller than the amount being spent here. So overall, Congressional Budget Office says this bill would add $2.4 trillion to the deficit, and that is even before you consider interest costs.
So, Lisa, Republicans argue that economic growth will help to pay for some of this, which is harder to.
Yeah, comment.
No, just coming on because I know it seemed like it was. No, it's not tuning up. Thought it was tuning up. Yeah, that's what we mean. That's what we're talking about. That's why we need to see all of the bill, because they hide crap in what seems to be good or should be good, and they taking away rights and things that have helped build their corporation.
Trump lives in debt. He has no problem with debt.
To forecast, but based on what we do know
we'll just file bankruptcy. In America, we'll just file bankruptcy.
Right now, what's their argument for why this won't add to the deficit?
Right, it's important because you're going to be hearing this from that. Republicans say, look at this biggest cost here, the extension of the Trump tax cuts.
Are you looking at this nose? Stacey said, word, she looks like good news. Look at that profile.
Because these are the current tax rates, they argue it shouldn't be counted against the cost.
Like you got the glasses on, and
yes, I know what you're talking
they
about.
live. She does not look.
Or those glasses. Remember those? What was it? Groucho Marx glasses or something back in the day? So if you get the glasses and they had the nose on it already. You remember that?
She don't even look human, bro.
No, she don't. Look at her hands, bro.
Of the bill. So let's just go down this road with them for a second. If you take out the cost of extending the tax cuts, then indeed the math flips and the money they're saving in this bill is more than what they're spending. So it would in fact be good for the deficit. However, this ignores the reality that this bill would in fact take all of this revenue out of the federal budget. It is significant in dollar terms, but this is also significant politically, and I'm going to explain to you why. Republicans want to pass this bill through something called budget reconciliation. To do that, they have to meet.
A big picture look at the debt, but what exactly does the trajectory look like right now? And also, what does it look like if this mega bill passes?
This is so important. Our debt right now is soaring. This is where we are currently. Right now, about 100% of GDP is where our debt is. And this is sort of the rough trajectory going up to 156% if we stay on our current track in the middle of this century. Here's what this bill would do according to the Congressional Budget Office. It would make this curve even more steep for the first few years, and then it would flatten out. Essentially, it just increases the debt curve, moves it up so we have an even higher percentage of debt to GDP.
Lisa, all the efforts we've seen from the president and Elon Musk to cut the size of government and government spending, how do those compare with the size of the deficit?
Right, it's so important. We've seen so much about this idea of cutting spending, cutting federal workers. But let's talk about what it actually means relatively. So here is our current deficit. I took the liberty of taking the $1.9 trillion, which is this year's deficit, and making it sort of visual so that each of these dots represents $10 billion. Elon Musk and Doge have said so far that they have saved $180 billion. Now, we know this is not verified, and we know some of it is actually unproven. But let's just go ahead and imagine that they did actually save $180 billion. Where does that compare? Look at that. It is just this much out of the entire deficit. They've also been firing federal workers. Now, let's talk about if you fired every single federal worker, it'd be about $270 billion that you would save. What does that get you? Just this much. One last thing, there's a rescissions package of immediate cuts that President Trump has put forth. We've talked about that. That would include the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. How much would that save? $10 billion, just one dot. So it's to say that as much as President Trump is trying to cut some spending.
It's these wars, bro. It's these forever wars we've been fighting, bro. Nobody's talking about that, bro. Like, why is the deficit so high?
These mass sacrifices to the Baphomet.
Yeah.
That they call war.
Yes, we've been fighting war for 30 years, bro. It's expensive. Active duty soldiers get paid more than inactive soldiers.
As they should. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, all of them should get a higher rate, but as they should, because that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, the Republicans were always the fiscally responsible ones. At least that's the way they rammed it down my throat.
None of them have. They're all like two wings of the same bird, two sides of the same coin. They work together.
Right. This guy talks about the other regime and, how they ran the deficit up. And he put together a bill that, according to, look at that nose. I just can't get around it. But I'm happy that she didn't get the nose job, though. You know what I'm saying? She kept it 100. Like Nas kept the chipped tooth. Oh, they don't have a chipped tooth no more. If I see Nas, I'd talk to him about that. When did you make that decision and why? You know what I mean? But, I mean, it makes no sense. And Elon left, and he wasn't doing anything to the budget.
I mean, that was all distraction. Even their TIF is a distraction to get this piece of legislation passed.
So he's consolidating federal agencies. What does that look like?
I don't know exactly because I'm not informed.
Well, I know Brother Scott was in a tizzy about the bill. You know what I mean? They probably had some meetings in there, like it's gonna be some layoffs, and we can't, no more free coffee in there. You know what I mean? Like anybody who's working for the government don't like this bill.
Now. No, because it's a lot of firing. They already been doing it with the Doge even before the bill.
Yeah, he cut the weather service, and then you had that storm. They're trying to blame him for the flood because I was like, this wasn't an earthquake. I'm like, there's no alarm system. They're talking about, we need an alarm system. The water rose in 45 minutes. Don't get me wrong. But that's enough time for an alarm to go off. People were sleeping, bro. Wow. And the river rose. You think that was HARP?
I know it was, but seemed like something local should be in place to
inform
the people. They got tornado fucking sirens.
Man, you could have hired some people from Venezuela. You stand by this river, and you know what I mean. When it hits past this point, you sound the alarm. They could
Nah,
have
they
hired.
they bougie now, man. You can't because they come over here. They get car. They get
Cell phone,
apartment. They get health care. You
Uber
know,
accounts.
man. You know what I'm saying? Nah, you can't use them no more.
Uh, government restructuring. Okay, he's consolidating several federal agencies under new executive oversight. He's limiting judicial review of certain executive actions related to immigration and security. Expands presidential emergency powers during border crisis.
Uh-oh.
Well, Congress signed off on it in the Senate, the House of
Well,
Representatives and the
yeah,
Senate.
they sign whatever the lobbyists tell them to sign, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
They say y'all going to make this pass, but make it close.
One senator was dead set against it. Came out talking about he was a Republican. Argued against itself, and guess how he voted?
You voted right for it, so it'll
He
be
sure did.
50-50 tie, so the vice president could go
No,
ahead and
he voted for it. He didn't even abstain.
Uh-uh. They all on code.
Imagine such, bro. I sit up at a meeting at the Copper House, talk against something vehemently for hours and hours, and then vote for it. There's no way we.
Sounds about right.
Wow.
It was just what do they call it when they just talk? They ain't even got to talk no more to do it. They can just
Filibuster.
say, yeah, they can just say, "Yeah, filibuster. We're filibustering," and don't have to fill the time or nothing. What kind of crap is that?
Limits court challenge on executive action. Okay. All right, let's get to the stuff for the people. All right.
We'll see.
Because she Big Nose over here, she broke it down. They threw crumbs to the everyday people. Crumbs.
Big Bird.
Yeah. Workers can deduct, by workers they mean slaves, can deduct up to $12,500 in overtime pay from their taxable income. You've got to like that. Come on. Don't tell me you don't like that. I like that.
Yeah, on the surface, I just don't trust any of the fork tongue. So I got to read the whole thing.
Workers can deduct up to $12,500 in overtime pay from their taxable income. I like that. You know what I mean?
Definitely on the surface, that's good. Very good.
Joint filers, if it's you, your wife, or your what do they call them?
Significant other.
Yeah, domestic partner.
Yeah, domestic. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw two domestic partners walking down the street. Somehow they had a baby. It was two guys. Somehow they had a baby, and the baby's sucking his thumb, and you know what I mean, just sucking it. I'm like, man, I'm like, oh my God, they're raising another domestic partner. All right. I mean, this child is in theta. All right.
Yeah.
Workers, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Workers
exactly.
it's a new normal. Workers can deduct up to 12,500. Okay, joint filers 25 stacks. So, all right, and that begins the 2025 tax year, but this ends in 2028.
Yeah.
Now they're going to end that.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Why does this end and nothing else ends?
Right when he gets out of there.
Nothing else ends though.
Well, it's just crumbs and you know, and
temporary crumbs.
Yeah, he say you could, you know. Man, when we restructure this whole thing, the government officials, they get paid just like, I think you might have said this, to the minimum wage of the state they're from.
That's right.
That's what they should get paid.
That's it.
And that's what they'll get paid. And it will
That's
have
all.
a whole different situation. No lobbyists, no corporation is a person, none of this madness.
And if the corporation is a person, they should be capped out at the same rate that you and I would be before they call it a crime. In other words, I think you can give up to 25 grand to a candidate for their, campaign, and the corporations are giving 250,000, not to mention all the under table money. It should be the exact same figure.
It's unlimited for the corporation.
There you go. All right, but phases out for individuals earning over 150 grand. So the super high money owners, they're getting the tax breaks, but somebody who's trying to come up and they got themselves up to 150 stacks, 300,000 for joint filers, they don't get any of this.
Right. Haves, have nots.
All right, here's something. Tip workers, for example, servers, bartenders, stylists, rideshare drivers, can deduct up to 25 stacks in tips. Applies only to customarily tipped professions. Oh boy. What is a customarily
waitresses and
I get it though. I see what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
You can't start saying, "Hey, I'm
right,
a doctor."
yeah.
Yeah.
Give me these tips. They've been tipping hard. All 25 grand tips. Write that right off.
Right. And you can't be creating, like I can't start a company and all of a sudden my customer service reps are expected to be tipped. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Like they do it almost everything, almost every place you check out or whatever. You can be pickup and the tip part come up like, want to tip you for handing me my food?
Yeah, for doing your job.
Yeah, cooking
I
it and
came to
handing
get it. Correct. Expanded detention. Okay. More agents, more arrests. All right, go back to where I was.
More agents? Oh, for ICE.
Yeah, I went too far.
Less IRS agents, right?
They said something about that?
Yeah, that's let me find that.
Okay. Rush transparency. Oh man, I was talking about the tips. Okay. Tip workers can deduct up to 25 grand, but it's only for 3 years. Working families boosted standard deduction by up to 1,500. This is peanuts in today's economy.
All peanuts.
Middle income owners most likely to benefit from full deductions. Low income workers may see smaller impact if already below tax threshold.
Yeah, it's looking like it's some BS.
What's beautiful about it?
What's ever been great about this country? It's about the same.
It
hasn't been.
It's the greatest country ever. Love it or leave it.
Well, it's crashing and burning. People just don't see that they live in a burning house. Not you, but people.
It's funny I said that, and then Stacey said, "How are you both feeling about this country and residency?" Well, one of the last things my mom was saying in her last year in this earth states was, "Y'all got to get the hell out of the United States." They're paying these undocumented people a stack and give them a flight. I've been saying, package up my nobody listens to me. Package up my reparations. I'm going to go up because of inflation. Right now, you give me $450,000 in a first class one-way flight. I will select the country that I'm going to, and I'm up. And then that same money needs to be paid to the wife too. And I'm up.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? I'm up. If there's any white person or pink person out there in government that's listening, you guys, I guarantee you, if you present this offer to many so-called African Americans in this country, we'll be out of your what?
Hair.
Stringy hair.
Come
Who
back
gets
after
paid?
this place crashes.
Who gets paid overtime these days? Right. If you're not on salary, and that's a good point. That is a good point. What's beautiful about in their eyes is they pulled a fast one and just made trillions somewhere in that bill. So, to Stacey's point, fiscal conservatives argue that the bill adds over $3 trillion to the national deficit. Critics say it contradicts promises to reduce government spending and undermine long-term economic stability. Elon Musk called it, I don't care what he called it. The bill imposes deep cuts to Medicaid, including work requirements and funding deductions. Opponents warn this could lead to millions losing health care, especially in your rural and your projects, your rural and your low-income communities. I don't know why they have to say rural and low-income communities because they're one and the same.
Well, they can be. Part of the rural areas are not low income.
Great point. Moderate Republicans and Democrats say it disproportionately harms vulnerable populations. This country has always disproportionately harmed, right? This is nothing new.
It could possibly make them think what made it America great before, because it seems to be reverting back to some things and some times well before we were alive.
Mm-hmm. Before it was sweet. It was sweet right after World War II for a minute. People was able to come up. A provision limits tax deductions for gambling losses, angering casino owners and professional gamblers. Well, personally, I didn't even know you could deduct gambling losses. That is crazy. Isn't it?
I guess. I mean, if you are a professional gambler, it is, unfortunately a part of your profession. If you're a professional gambler, you're going to lose. I don't know if that's your business. That I don't know that business should be taxed where you could do that. Now, I'm
This is
not agreeing with
ridiculous.
that, but
Tax deduction for gambling losses. I guess so. When you win, they're taxing you.
yeah. You lose big, you should be writing some of it off if they go tax your winnings.
Well, if you play the lottery, you buy those tickets every day, you can get tax deductions on those.
You should be.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I don't like that they take 50% of it off rip. They take 50% of it through taxes off rip.
No risk. The house always wins, huh? The house being America.
Yeah.
What's up, Tasia?
Hey.
Critics say it could push players toward offshore, unregulated platforms, hurting local economies like Vegas. See, I have a thing about gambling, and that's just a personal thing.
Yeah, I get it. I don't really gamble.
Lawmakers from Nevada have called it an attack on gaming and tourism. Well, it is.
I guess. I mean, it could encourage people to play more if they can write off the losses.
Correct, which isn't necessarily good for anyone but the casinos.
Yeah.
Which is a big corporation. It's not,
Yeah.
Trump's butthurt because whatever happened to him in New Jersey when his casinos went out of business.
Well, they don't look like Indians to me. And I talk to Indians and they don't look like Indians to them either.
People, everybody's saying this.
I'm saying that Redskins shouldn't have changed the name.
Civil liberties advocates are alarmed by expanded presidential emergency powers and reduced judicial oversight.
Oh, yeah.
Some fear it sets a precedent for unchecked executive authority, especially in immigration and national security matters. I mean, there's immigration and then there's an invasion.
Yeah. But this position is a puppet position. So
yeah,
I don't know why this puppet position should get control of the whole thing, because you're a puppet position. So I don't agree with that part.
Well, the lawmakers are complaining that it's 887 pages and the speed of its passage. I guess they didn't have a chance to absorb it. And I got an issue with that. They're getting paid all that money and they got a whole staff.
They don't get to read any of the stuff they vote on, because it's all 1,000-page. Because there's a whole bunch of BS that had to be agreed upon for it to pass.
It's their job to read it.
Shoot, it's their job to get reelected. That's the way they feel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they got staffers and all that, and they probably fingered through it.
All right, but the proponents are saying they're highlighting the bill's tax cuts for your middle income earners, overtime and tip exemptions. That's what Coach mentioned, and permanent relief for small businesses. They argue it will stimulate hiring, boost take-home pay, and revitalize local economies. Yeah, this is trickle down.
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say. This is trickle down.
Especially in rural and manufacturing heavy regions. Retailers and business groups praised the bill's pro-growth measures and deregulation, saying it will stabilize prices and encourage. Prices are never stabilized. They always sell us that BS.
Man. Yeah, it's nonsense. It's trickled down all over again. They running their same play, calling it the big, beautiful law. Jeez.
The bill is seen as these are proponents, a major step towards securing the southern border with expanded funding for infrastructure, personnel, and surveillance. They say it restores control over immigration policy and reduces the burden on U.S. cities by shifting asylum processing abroad. It also touted as a deterrent to illegal crossings, reinforcing national sovereignty. Support for seniors and veterans, which you pointed out earlier. The bill eliminates federal taxes on Social Security for millions of seniors and expands benefits for vets. Lawmakers say it honors commitments to those who've contributed to the country and protects. But see, now, if you got trillions of dollars in debt, they're going to come out there and say, what? There's no money for Social Security.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
And they've stolen it on 3 occasions.
Yeah.
Stole it.
Yeah.
And then say it's what do you call it? Damn. What do they call it when you just expect to get it and you didn't put anything to it? The government pays them out. Oh my God. I don't think of it, so.
Yeah. Agriculture. Huh?
People pay into that.
Yes.
It's not been what they say it is. It's not, you just
No, they've been taking money out of your check for years.
Man. And they've stolen it 3 separate times. Use it for something else and then act like it's not, the people didn't earn it.
Again, I would have been okay with most of this if they would have taxed the shit out of the corporations and the high income owners.
I mean, on the surface, yeah.
Tax them at the same rate they tax everybody else. And past, I've said 10%, 20%. Okay, 15%. I'll meet me in the middle. 15% should be the tax rate for every corporate, anybody doing business, any human being, whether you're undocumented, whether you're documented, whether you're naturalized, whether you're a birthright citizen, whatever it is, 15% on all income you make. Boom. Farmers and ranchers praised the bill for eliminating the estate tax, aka they call it a death tax, and expanding deductions for equipment and land improvements. It includes $66 billion in new farm program funding, the largest since 2002, aimed at stabilizing food production and protecting against disease outbreaks. Supporters call it a symbol of unified government and a bold move to reverse what they see as years of bureaucratic stagnation. They say the bill reflects a clear mandate from voters and delivers on promises made during the last election cycle.
Yeah, I wonder what hogwash is, twisted up in that part.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to start querying individual Americans and see if that's what they voted for.
Oh, they clearly don't care what the people voted for. And this is trickle down, reimagined, and it didn't work last time. They couldn't enforce it all the way through, so they tried to reimagine it and dumb down the population.
Yeah, dumbing us down.
And bring it back.
Keep us distracted talking about Diddy.
Yes. Oh, man. And Elon Musk and Trump's tiff and things of them natures.
All right. We got one more video, then we can pretty much get to our opinion on this here. Overall, one more. Fair use. Fair use. Big, beautiful bill.
He got his wish. Later today, President Trump is expected to mark this 4th of July by signing the massive spending bill which Congress passed yesterday.
Yeah, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill boosts border security and ICE enforcement.
What I don't like is when the Democrats push forth a big spending bill, everybody likes it.
Well, it's all, predictive programming and programming in general. Like most of our people or our cousins and tag-alongs praise this party. And they would never consider going against it. And that's scary and bad in it of itself.
This unimaginative party that's got their hands out like everybody else from these big donors. And whenever they have control, we just need control of this and control of that. We can control everything, and then nothing becomes of it.
Yeah, when they get control, they don't do anything with it.
Nothing becomes of it.
They are, in fact, a cog in the whole situation. They are all of them, as far as
So you're
I'm
saying
concerned.
it's Spacely Sprockets and Cogswell Cogs out there?
Yeah.
Enforcement.
I mean, if you gotta watch, you got a whole lot of stuff that has to work together for it to process and do what it needs to do. And let me tell you something, they are all cogs in it. Every little thing that needs to make that everything goes 300 pieces or whatever it is, how many people in Congress to let some mess happen right to the people.
And then they put on a show and make us think somebody's fighting about it. And then that way we don't go snatch them all out of there and wipe poop on the walls.
Yeah, and white poop on them.
It also increases defense spending, and there are new work requirements
Food
and
stamps,
other
right
changes
there.
to safety net programs, including SNAP, the Food Assistance Program, and Medicaid. The measure passing with a final vote of 218 to 214. And from tax credits to cuts, there's a lot in the Trump spending bill that will directly impact you and your money.
So there's a negative connotation. That's why they put that out there like that. And look who they got saying.
Yeah, two
people. Yeah.
My consumer reporter Josh Adorowitz is in your corner with a closer look at the bill. Good morning, Josh.
Now here comes the smart guy.
He slides out the way for the first part of it. Let them talk that mess.
Here comes a smart guy to come explain everything to you.
Morning to both of you. Yes, well, as the name here implies, this is a massive piece of legislation estimated to add more than $3 trillion to the national debt here over the next decade. That's according to Congress's own analysis. That same analysis also says it will result in the loss of health care coverage for millions of Americans. For others, there are some provisions that might put some money back into your pocket.
He looks like a domestic partner.
On average, according to a Tax Policy Center analysis, households next year could see about a $2,900 reduction in their federal taxes. Ultimately, though, that will vary widely based on your income, with the highest earners estimated to benefit the most. But Katie Labasco, a tax policy expert with the nonpartisan nonprofit Tax Analysts, argues that many taxpayers may not notice much of a difference at all. Here's why.
What I do like people to keep in mind is that a lot of this is extending tax cuts that they already have. So they may not notice this $2,900 decrease. They are extending tax cuts that were put in place in 2017.
Yeah, many of these tax cuts enacted under President Trump's first term were set to expire then here, guys, at the end of this year.
All right, so tell us what this means
might be
about
that
some of the
one
new
of them
tax breaks.
Yeah, so there's some big deductions here and
autosexuals, yeah.
changes to know about, starting with this for obviously tipped workers or those who get overtime pay. They could deduct now thousands.
Yeah, Self. I predict you'll be able to marry yourself soon. Why not?
Man, have a dual thing.
People show up to give you gifts. You dance with yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you love yourself, and you get people taking pictures of you.
Uh-huh.
Everybody get all kind of man.
Yeah, it's coming.
Thousands of that extra pay from their federal income taxes, up to $25,000 in cash tip income and up to $12,500 in overtime. If you're buying a new car, as long as it's American made, you can now deduct up to $10,000 in interest from the loan for that vehicle. At the same time, the $7,500 EV credit, that's going away. Seniors 65 and older, they get a $6,000 boost to their standard deduction. These are all temporary, though, through 2028. But for many parents, this does permanently increase the child tax credit by $200 per child.
$200 per child.
Wow. For the year, $200.
That's one trip to the grocery store.
Massive. That's massive, man. Come on, give me a break, Nine. You know that change their lives.
But as we've been talking about, at the same time, there are substantial cuts to programs like Medicaid, which 72 million low-income Americans and people with disabilities rely on for health care. The bill slashes a key source of funding for states that expanded Medicaid, like Pennsylvania. There's also changes to the federal food assistance program known as SNAP. And then there's also a tax credit that had been helping people pay for coverage purchased on the Affordable Care Act's exchange. That is not being extended under this bill, and that will be one that will be allowed to expire here at the end of this year.
So a lot of people, especially a lot of people in need, who are going to be impacted
and
by
feeling
this.
like we barely scratched the surface with this. I mean, there was a lot.
900 plus pages.
And you alluded to this last hour, Siafa, that the impact of this, in some cases, they don't kick in, these changes, until another year or two from now. So it'll be a while before we'll see the full impact.
After the midterm elections, I think that was purposely done.
All right. Thank you for that, Josh.
Josh, thank you. As always, you can contact.
There's Josh. He's in your corner.
Oh man. Oh man, it's so much to process, bro. and then the only answer to this, so we already said what the answer is. They've done it in the French Revolution, but the only answer that they're programming us for is the midterms are coming, and we can vote them out, and we got to get the other side back in.
Man, it's such a fallacy.
Got to get the other side in.
I'm so disappointed with this whole situation. I'm tired of being a part of it. I'm at the point where I don't know if I can participate in any way, shape, or form beside observing, because it's ridiculous.
It's a clown show,
man. From every angle.
Yeah.
It's like, give me a break. I can't believe that you've dumbed down society to where they are sheep to this madness. And,
yeah, it says
we, along with some others, can see, but the masses, mad.
And they buck the middle income earners. They like the buffer. They need the so-called middle class to be okay with all this, right? and then the rich keep getting richer,
until
and
they get
they're
the AI
comfortable.
all the way in. They're gonna show the
Oh
middle
yeah,
class. They're gonna show
but
them
they
that
think
you're
about
lower
them.
class out there.
Uh,
You're
you're gonna
lower
get a
class.
you're gonna get a temporary
Yeah.
universal income for 3 years, and after that, figure it out.
Yeah, it's gonna be you know all them a lot of the middle class look down on the lower class
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever, and they
yeah. They think they're
don't have.
better than
Oh yeah, this gonna
yeah.
be a realization.
And they got a lot of smug, don't they, self? A lot of
Yeah,
them, not
because
all of them.
it's gonna take that for the people to say, man, the hell with this.
The middle class is the buffer. Once the middle class raises up and starts being angry enough to do what you said, not vote, maybe go rub poop on the walls, whatever. You know what I mean? This is going to keep going, but there does come a time, self. To your point, it comes a time, man, when the people are going to rise up. It's happened historically. They just don't talk about it in your at Drop Dead Gorgeous William May Trey. They don't talk about that in
Anywhere.
history
It's
class.
cyclical out there. This whole
Yeah,
experience is cyclical. So
yeah.
if you study what they say happened, then it's kind of, to some degree, it's going to happen again, So especially when you see key factors about how there's a lavishly rich and a slovenly poor narrative that's being pushed.
Yeah. They're eradicating the middle class.
Yes.
Yes. That's what made America great. You had a middle class that was able to buy a home, not own nothing, and maybe a vacation home, retire with a nice,
And you had a smaller lower class. I mean, because everybody could
Yes.
work these jobs at these places and come up without
Yes.
education, without going to college,
Yes.
without having advanced degrees. You could raise your family with one parent working at these factories
Yes.
and all this stuff, the other parent at home raising the lineage.
Yes.
He was able to afford a life that was better than most places in the world.
Because the corporations weren't allowed, the ones at the top weren't allowed to take all of the profits.
Right.
The
Gals.
workers were.
Oh, it was something supposed to be in there that uh that the CEOs executive salaries was tied to the laborers' salaries.
Yeah, it should be.
Yes, as it should be. So it was something in there that said that, according to what I
The
read.
execs, I'd be happy with a 50-50 split on the profits between the execs and the employees. What's happening now is the employees are getting maybe 20% of the profits, and the execs are getting these big bonuses, and then
Man, they
and then
getting
they're
less
not
than
paying
that, bro.
taxes.
They're not giving them nothing. The execs are getting all of it.
Well, I'm not. Well, part of your paying your salary is coming out of the profits. That's what I'm saying. So your salary would go up if they increase that percentage of. So say if a company makes $1 million profit in 1 year.
This one, okay. You talking about
Do you know
something
what I'm
different?
saying?
Yeah, you talking about something
And
different
and
than
they
what
got
I stated.
100 lower employees. Those
Yeah.
those lower employees should get 50. Should get 500,000 as opposed to the exec taking the 1 million. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they used to do that. Bro, I be talking to employees now, bro. I'm talking about middle class professionals. All
No,
right,
they
I'll
what?
be like, did you get a good Christmas bonus? So they don't even give Christmas bonuses no more.
No, they ain't giving nothing. That's what I'm saying.
Nothing.
And they saying that their whole salary and intake is based on the lower employees. It's a right ratio. It ain't about
Correct.
bonuses. It's about their salary.
Correct.
Is what I'm talking about. That's in there, but
Correct. But the
yeah,
salaries used to be the
it should
lower
reflect
people's.
that.
Yes.
It
Yes.
wouldn't be ridiculous. They wouldn't be making 1,000 times more than
Correct.
a manager.
Correct. And
You
then
know,
and then you wouldn't have these student loans because people were able, to your point, one salary, maybe two sometimes. They could put their kid through school without paying this usurious interest on student loans. It's all about keeping us enslaved.
period, keeping us from performing at our highest. So we're basing our time and experience on their endeavors.
100%. 100%. And to the point where we've all forgot about what life should be about, and that's
Man,
maximizing the time, doing what you love with the people you love the most. We've forgotten about that because they got us
right.
chasing our tail. Chasing our tail.
Worrying about the basics.
Yeah. What do you like about the big bogus bill? That's what I've been calling.
That's a good name for it. All I really like is the light, fluffy narration that they've given of it. They say that it's good for this and great for that and all of that. I like a lot of that stuff, but I know better because they've been twisted tongue since the first treaty they broke.
That's why they don't like Farrakhan, because he calls him a fork-tongued devil.
Man, since the first treaty they broke, and they done broke everything they
Every
done
treaty.
said, including every law that they made for this corporation.
Yeah, I mean, they gave the people blankets and said this is going to keep you warm, and the blankets had smallpox in it. It was biological warfare.
Yeah.
And then now, biological warfare is forbidden, and we'll blow up your country if you even consider it.
Yeah, if we say you have it.
Yeah, if we say you got it.
And not we. I keep, I live
us,
here, but
us.
Yeah.
Us being United States.
Yeah, United States.
All right.
Corporation.
Yeah, I would say, it's peanuts though, bro. It's like sitting at a bar and everybody's eating steak and they give you a beer and a big thing of peanuts and you're going at it and everybody else is eating steak, filet mignon, sushi.
Or if some fries come with the steak and they just give you the fries and just be like,
the leftover fries after they're cold and nobody wants them.
Yeah, here you go.
Trickles down. Yeah.
Have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm taking the leftovers of this steak with me though, so I'm not even.
They don't even leave you that, Self. They don't leave you that.
No, they just give you the side or whatever that they don't really want anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, overtime should have never. Well, the fact that it's not tipped, I don't know. That seems crazy. It should have, in my mind, never been tipped at a higher rate than your regular income. I always
Tax,
felt,
yes,
yeah,
that's
tax,
crazy.
yeah.
The more you work, the less you get.
Yeah,
it's like it's incentive to not do it.
Yeah. So I like that. Not getting a tax return on that. Also, I like the tips. Not tipping your tip, not taxing the tips. I like that a lot. Yeah. What else? Some of the stuff about immigration, bro. People might not want to hear it, and they might think I'm, wearing a MAGA hat, which I'm clearly not. It was out of hand. I told this cat in Beverly Hills, Self, I said, we're about to get a group together to start busing these people to you wacky liberals, got your little violin out. Yeah, but the people, yeah, but y'all not dealing with these people. You know what I'm saying? We're about to start busing them to your neighborhoods and driving through the gated communities and letting them set up tents right there and letting them fill up your private schools. You know what I mean? While you're sitting back on high and, saying, we have to do what's right when you guys aren't even paying taxes to fund any of this.
Right. Exactly.
It's and that's about it, man. That's about all I can say I like about it. What don't you like about it? Everything, pretty much. The immigration, I like some of the things. Go ahead, my bad.
The trickle down effect. The fact that I know they got a forked tongue, so everything that I would like on the surface, I know it's something to it. I know it's got to be some good to it, but I do see a lot of bad. I don't like the presidential powers, the extra powers. I don't like that. I don't like
the increase in the military budget that's not going to the people. Like just more bombs and
that's
to fund more wars.
That's stupid.
What did Tupac say? They got money for wars but can't feed the poor.
Facts.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No.
I do like taking care of the veterans after they come back, fighting these dumb wars, these archaic wars, because nobody's even really done anything to us, being the U.S., right? I mean, we're fighting on behalf of Israel, we're fighting on behalf of Ukraine, and we're spending money. And we got trillions of dollars in debt, Self. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
They'll never pay it. They had no intention on paying it. So.
I told you, I get in and write a bill. Yeah, the debt's zero. We're not paying it. Play with it. But the dollar would plummet.
It's a matter of time.
You mean people will be wiping their ass with $100 bills?
Yeah, pretty much. And they'll become a thing of the past out the app.
They got rid of the penny.
Well, they should have. It costs 2.5 cents to make one.
They say it costs more than the nickel, so they need to go ahead and get rid of that too, huh? More to produce the nickel than it is the
nickel's on its way out.
All right, sidebar. We've got close to 100 stacks in an investment we did. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Just going to keep it in there? Because I keep trying to tell everybody, take it out, put in some real property, leave a little in there.
I'm in agreement with you on that. I was wondering that, but the person involved, the heading of that, he's very I don't.
The reason we chose that particular Ethereum was by suggestion of me. Do you understand? He'll say it was the late Reynard and him. It was me.
No, it didn't have nothing to do with them.
And that's what I'm saying. We could pull that out. And then they were telling me, yeah, but he ain't got no brothers on the yard. I'm like, no, that could be an Airbnb. We can rent it to pink people. You know what I mean?
Get a good location. All those games that season can pay for it.
Yeah, it'd be our storage and get something real, because this stuff they're doing isn't real. We could pull half of it out and get a down payment.
We've been working together at the same place for a minute. And, we need to have a discussion with him. That's for sure.
Yeah, reel him in a little bit. He's supposed to be coming on the show, bro. I got to finish his book. Give it a plug here. The Great Awakening by Drew Wade. You guys, you can get it on Amazon. It's not it's Great Awakening by Drew Wade. You can get it on Amazon. Fantastic books covering a lot of stuff we were talking about. He's a futurist, as I see it, sci-fi, science nonfiction, as my genre has it. But yeah, once I close this out, then we can pop him up and have these discussions if he'll ever listen to anything that we say during the show. Purse. All right, let's get to the poll question, Self. What's your take on the big, beautiful, and that's in quotes, beautiful's in quote, law? All right. Favorable. 14% of the respondents. Oh, wait a minute. I have to go in and do something here because done a little more research here. So give me a second. This is going to be updated.
Like, share, subscribe. Y'all know the Self Love Show is a vibe.
Yeah, I had to change it. All right. That changes this a lot. Okay. All right. I was ignorant. All right. When I initially voted on this, but now let's go through it. 14% are favorable on the big, beautiful law. 14% of the respondents. Another 14% say both. There's good and there's bad within. Okay, so it's favorable and unfavorable. And that could probably be an answer for me as well, but the bad so much outweighs the good that I didn't feel comfortable with
Yeah.
that. Unsure, I haven't read it. 29%. Yeah.
Woo!
All right. And are you okay? All right. 43% have said that this bill is unfavorable in their opinion. Now, I went with unfavorable. Brother Wordsmith, what did you end up voting after the analysis of the bill?
After the full analysis, I'm going to go with unfavorable, but I said good and bad. But I think, like you said, it's so much more unfavorable than good
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it's got to be
So
leaning
much pork
towards
in
that.
it. And
Yeah,
you
I
don't
mean,
eat
and I
pork.
knew that. I've been saying it the whole
The
time.
whole
I'm like,
show.
yeah, I like that, but I need to read the whole thing because
Yeah, it's filled with pork.
yeah, I know that. I know how they do it, you know. And then it in there is supposed to be some nomenclature about not being able to do that. And there's going to be
Yes.
some clear and clear tax laws, and it's not going to have all of the politicians politicize everything and add all the crap to it. But then they do it to this.
And this is supposed to be a big permanent bill, but the little peanuts that they gave to the everyday people is
Are
only
up soon
3
as
years.
he leaves office. That's the coronation of it in
And the
28.
Democrats are going to come around and promise us those peanuts back. And they already talking about we're going to tax the rich, we're going to tax the rich, but they didn't do it when they had all three offices, all three branches. That's what I'm saying, bro.
They
They're
never
all
do.
talk.
And that's why I didn't like Obama. And
All talk.
got right in there, and I want to work across the aisle, and
Yeah.
we're gonna
Yeah.
see if we can make this happen. Instead of
Mm.
ram it,
Yeah.
ram it.
Well, hold it. And now, now I'm a lame duck, and you guys are just gonna have to vote Hillary in. I mean, yeah, you know what I mean.
Man, he should have rammed it. If he was
That's what
really
he's supposed to
real,
do.
he was supposed
Yes,
to ram it. Even at the end, he was supposed to
yes.
appoint the Supreme Court judge and everything.
He had the highest approval rating. Let me ask you this question: if Donald Trump, right now, I'm asking you now, somehow extended it where he can run for president again, and Obama came out of the woodworks and said, "I'm going to run against him," who do you think will win in an election?
That'd be fascinating.
Oh, that would be such a great debate.
I
That
think
would be such the.
I think then the Trump would go on, and
You think Trump will win?
I think it's very possible because
I don't
man,
know. A lot of those moderates, they like Obama.
they do, but
They
these
voted for Trump because
these
of a hatred for Kamala.
and Hillary,
Correct.
but I think
He's got a forked tongue.
he well, so does Obama up there.
That's what I'm talking about. He's
And
got a forked tongue.
yeah, and they been pushing this forward. I think they would push that forward to push this agenda that they got going. Even Obama couldn't save it. He was not selected for this endeavor.
So you think Trump would beat Obama in a national election at this point?
The next election.
Wow. Wow.
The world has changed. Wasn't a lot of he, him, and they, and all of that.
Well, Obama pushed a lot of that in there.
Yeah, the second term.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, you got anything else to add on this here, fella?
That, and deep in my deepest parts of my soul, I knew that this was how this bill was gonna go. It's like I said, forked tongue from the first treaty. I don't know why we kept on believing they would tell us the truth. or operate in good faith. They never have on any level.
Anytime you give a people blankets to help them, women, children, old people, senior citizens,
kill the whole village.
What a way to start something. It's been poisoned from the beginning.
Since they first came here. Even after we taught them how to survive. That's the
Yeah. And they try to tell us they invented boating and they were the first to make ships. It's all nonsense. There were people on islands all over the world, bro. Now, either they grew out of the dirt or they were placed here by, supernatural aliens or beings, or they were navigating this whole globe and probably taught them how to do it.
This is the 7th or 8th iteration of this biped
Bipedal.
Vehicle that we encompass. So, yeah, there's been plenty of times they've been navigating the globe and all that. And there's also been everywhere on every part of the planet.
Yeah, all over.
Pangea theory and things of that nature as well.
But they got us believing that the only reason your copper-colored or bronze people are found anywhere you go on this planet is because they were brought there by your whites or your pinks.
Yeah, and everything we ever had is a culmination. It comes from Africa, and it's just not the case. If you look at Pangea, Africa and America split apart. So
yes, I saw that when I looked at the globe on my own.
Yeah,
like this is a puzzle. It fits perfectly.
Yeah, so same soil, different people, but especially over the amount of time that it's been since it split.
Which means
can't call them original or us, what I mean? We've been here originally. They've been there originally.
Which means mankind has been on Earth forever.
That's my inclination, because this is, for me, a simulation. So ever since it's been cut on.
Yeah, well, if it's a simulation, it has a creator, or because it didn't simulate itself. So if it is a simulation, that means that it was created by a creator, and for us, and we've been here from the beginning, which has always been my notion.
Yeah.
All right. The views expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guests and are not necessarily reflective of TATN or any affiliates. Yeah. All right. So what we're witnessing isn't just a clash of policies. It's a collision of lived realities. From the crowded shelters and burning streets of Mexico City to the quiet anxieties of families navigating new rules under the big bogus law. The message is clear. When governments redraw the lines, it's the people who feel the tremors first. These aren't isolated events. They're reflections of a deeper struggle over who belongs, who decides, and who pays the price. Whether it's a mother in Juarez or a worker in Chicago, the questions echo across borders. What does safety look like? What is security? What's the price of justice? And who gets left behind when the ink dries on a big, beautiful bill? As we close out today's episode, we're not offering easy answers because there aren't any. But we are holding space for the voices that too often go unheard. Because behind every so-called riot, behind every law, there are people. And our stories matter. Thanks sincerely for listening. Stay curious, stay informed, stay aware, stay present, stay engaged, and more importantly, stay true to self. Also, love yourself and everyone around you deeply. Remember, ask not what our culture can do for you, but what you can do for our culture. Silence is violence, and continue to question everything. Because the Self Love Show ain't Kansas, Toto. Peer down those rabbit holes. Do your own research. Use caution and discernment. Because sometimes when you stare into the abyss, well, the abyss stares right back into you. Peace, self-love, honor, and respect. All right, let's get to that riddle, which is in the chat. There we go. Boom. Born from debate, not from a womb, I live in the halls where the gavels boom. I bind many parts in a single scroll with promises grand and a partisan soul. Some call me progress, others appeal. What am I? This big, beautiful, what self?
Law. Because it's no longer a bill.
And it's a law now. 100% right on that there, my brother. 100% right there. Facts and more facts. You guys let us know if you got any topics in mind or any guests you think would want to pull up, you know?
Been difficult to get in touch with Trife?
Man, I've been just so damn busy, bro. No excuses.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Yeah, I've been so damn busy, bro. I got to reach out to him.
No doubt.
See if we'll come up free. It's time be can't sleep. All right. It's self-love. All right, and this brings me to my personal favorite part of the whole shebang. And before we do that, y'all pop up on Sunday, Spolly Tricks. That's where we discuss sports and politics. Spolly Tricks, that's Sunday. And it's always an open panel. Anybody's welcome to pull up. But if you do pull up,
you better remember your mouthpiece. You better not forget it, because you can get left all wet. Your conversation get all messed up.
Yeah, you can get your teeth knocked out. I'll tell you about some troll online. I'll tell you about it later. All right, this brings me back to my personal favorite part of the whole shebang, and that's Wordsmith's final words out there, out there, out there, out there, out there.
It's a hairy situation. Vicarious things happened across the nation. They done went and made a law. Some of the biggest BS your asses ever saw. I'ma stay raw and let you hear the truth. They came here to execute one and all. They want us to fall. AI is gonna last long. We gonna be on the back burner. They give you some loot if you gonna stay in the earner. Man, they don't concern with us no more because they are ready to move on. We want to have haves and the have-nots. They got an intricate plot to stop everybody from getting to the top. Similar to Elysium, they want the whole situation pleasing them and not pleasant for us. Useless eaters can turn to dust. But they plan not gonna work, cause they gonna put it down and it's really gonna hurt. People gonna get together, make sure that they search within, make sure that we straight bend time and change the information that they sending us, because it's like a sin. We can't pretend that they not using predictive programming. They show us what they want and how they want us to proceed, and we feed on it, man, like we greedy, like needy, man, more than the educational system can provide. It leads us to a different ride where our evilness resides. We lose empathy for each other. And nobody run for cover. Suckers get shot, everybody dead, and I don't know what's going on, man. They behead everything, that's their plan, but it's gonna fail, cause they know the truth, man. The people real. We will rise, we gon' take them over. It's revolution time, you know, like a nova, foregone clover. You don't know, but the truth is we gon' show and prove and make sure we start it over, cause like four-leaf clover, it's a mess that we gotta be in. They talking shit, but it's like they taking the beating right on our head. Y'all know what we said. Let's go and get it, man, like the feds. Ha 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 ha. Let's go with it. Let them know with it. The big beautiful deal is bogus. It's hocus pocus, a lot of bullshit, man. They wanna show us. They know us. Self Love Show. We show ya the truth. Live in proof. Execute easy, man. Since I use words.
Words. Self love, rocking the drill beat. You know what I'm saying? That was nice though, bro. That was nice, man. Hey, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all. God willing, y'all willing, we'll be back up in here next week. Same bat time, same bat place.
Love, honor, respect.
Absolutely. All right, Karen. Too much going on here.
Do you think you honestly, I don't know. You know what that means? It's Latin. Means know thyself.
Time is now, my people. We must stand together.
I will eat the right foods that I
Grow myself.
Stole my health. I'm glad to be me now and nobody else.
Man, know thyself.
I will eat the right foods that I
Grow myself.
Cause the wrong way stole
my health.
I'm glad to be me now and nobody else. Yo,
Bullets.
getting the code and all the scriptures, potions and elixirs.
Come on, Karen. Bullets. A boomerang.
Stand your ground.
Murder is suicide.
Yeah, well, an eye for an eye.
Silence is violence.
See something, say something.
You want to be a slave? Vibrate greed. Ego. Fear. That's how they make you a slave. You end up in prison.
Okay. 'Cause I know for sure, charity plus humility times love is freedom.
That's how you get out. Do not answer questions.
Question everything.
We've got two who can see.
Fear is cap. Messing something up.
And beef.
People.
It's hurt people.
Both of this. No. Prison is. Check that 13th Amendment if you don't believe them. And be walk on water. We'll be jumping on the